My yaya used to say all the time, everyone has a story. Just like that. And she's right. That's the truth. Everyone does have a story. And the ones I want to hear and learn from are the discoveries of self and those journeys. So I invite you. My name is Sophia. Welcome to Soul Journey Talk. Welcome, everyone. Here we are back at Soul Journey Talk, episode 2 of season 1, my very first summer episode of our video podcast special. I am so blessed and honored to have Catherine Magarino with me today.
Thank you, Sophia.
And I am really looking forward to this conversation. This is a podcast about the discovery of self, the soul journey. And we're here to talk about that. And so this is just a very casual, natural, organic conversation that we're going to have. And we're sitting here in Mother Nature. It's a little windy today. It is June 22nd, 2025 in Palmetto Bay, Florida, which is a little town in Miami-Dade County. So we're technically in Miami. I'm born and raised here. Are you born and raised here?
Yes.
Yes. So we are 2 natives over here today. Yay! Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
305.
The 305. We in 305 and the 305. Woohoo! All right. So we're going to begin this podcast. I ask one question, and then we take it from there. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So my question is, what has been your soul's journey that has led you to this moment in time in your life?
What has been my soul's journey that has led me to this moment in time in my life? Well, it's been a long journey. I mean, I'm 27 years old on this earth.
Yeah.
But I think our souls come from God, before we're born. So I do think that my soul is part of God and maybe other souls before I arrived into this body.
Spiritual being having human experiences.
Yes.
I first read that in Dr. Weiss's book, Many Lives, Many Masters. And I think he made a reference. It's a quote that he made from another source, and I can't really remember right now who is the one person that brought that to life here, but it's always stayed with me ever since I've read that. So that's very interesting. Yeah,
I haven't read that book, but I've definitely heard that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, not the other way around.
Correct.
Right. So when we come into our spirituality, when we come into our knowledge of God and the divine, we're really coming back to ourselves. I think it's, sometimes we go seeking and we're like, I'm going to find myself. Well, I think a good place to start is, connecting with your soul and who you are beyond this physical existence.
Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention that is so true. We're at 110%, like million in agreement and alignment over here, which is lovely. I love it. But Catherine over here is a singer, songwriter, independent artist, as well as a performing artist here in Miami, South Florida, and anywhere that will take her to either perform her original work or musicals and performances. But I have to say, we talked a little bit before filming this, and how old were you when you realized that you have a soul? Obviously, I don't have to ask you the question, do you believe you have a soul? It's clear. Yes, you do believe that. So how old were you?
So when I realized I had a soul, I was very young. one of my earliest, spiritual experiences that I can remember is I was 5 years old, and I was at church and I was praying, and I was praying for a sibling. And I just remember going like, please send me a sister or a brother. I really wanted a sister. But I was like, please send me a sister or a brother to help me, so I don't have to be alone, because I'm an only child.
Mm-hmm.
And that sibling never came, God knows why. But I remember that exact moment, like going down on my knees and praying.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I remember like my first connection to that feeling of God the Father, right? Like that being, or that
like a
person.
higher power, a divine energy or essence or being, our divine creator. Yeah,
and I think I was still in elementary school when I started to realize like, oh, there's more than just this. Like I started getting like more out of body, like, oh, like what I do like impacts other people. And like I would look in the mirror and be like, are you really there? I think I was about 10 when I became like self-aware of like, the person in the mirror is me, but it's also not me fully. I'm more than just what I see in the mirror. I was like 10.
How did you, first of all, the numbers of the ages are like phenomenal. 5 represents transmutation, transformation, change. And so that is what a beautiful age to experience, like a knowing that I'm a soul, there's something bigger than me. But at 10, that's like our entrance in human form into the double digits.
Yeah.
And so when you add it up though, 0 is 0. So 1 is oneness, wholeness, new beginnings, one with the universe, one with God, one with divine. So that's very interesting to me that you had those 2 major experiences in those ages. So what did you see in the mirror? Did you see like an energy field, an aura, or was it just a knowing? Did you have a vision, or was it just a feeling of a knowing that there's something bigger than just what I'm looking at here, and that what I do impacts the collective, the community, the world?
Yeah, it's hard to put into words, I think, what exactly it is that I began to perceive. I just remember looking at my face and really being like, like your face has changed, like from the time that's like that age. I just remember this moment where I was like, you look different than you used to when you were little. And just like I was aware of my like own existence, and I guess I became conscious. Because when I was a child, and I think most children are like this, you're just free and you're not really thinking about much. You're not thinking, oh, if I say this, it's going to make this person feel this way. Or like you just say what you feel and you do what you want because you're a kid.
Yes.
And around 10, like that age is when I was like, I need to be intentional. Like choices lead to other, the choices have consequences. And like, it was just a sobering moment.
Okay. Yeah. It's true what you said. We are able to do that. Some children don't have that environment that allows them to be free in that space. But for those that do, you're absolutely right. It's just this freedom of just saying and doing whatever. And that's actually, our first years are really basically discovering personality, or just like awareness all around us, like even like we recognize our parents right away, but that's because from day one we're looking at them. You know what I mean? It's like there's not one moment me growing up that I was like, oh, okay, so you're my parents. No, it's like I knew this was mommy and daddy, and
there's mommy peacock.
There's mommy. There's there's a peahen. There's a peahen. Don't be surprised if they do. There's an iguana on my roof.
Oh my god!
And I'm really trying hard not to look at it, but there he is. in all his green glory.
He's so beautiful.
On my roof over there.
But it's interesting you're talking about like
yeah,
mom and dad.
yeah,
And there's
like
mom and dad peacock.
There's
with babies.
Oh yes, there's a peahen. Oh, she is with a baby. Oh my gosh, she's with a baby. My videographer Brianna Lopez will be getting a snippet of that somehow, some way. But yeah, look at that. This is what I mean, energy. So I'm just talking about mommy and daddy, and here comes a mommy peahen with a baby. Like, what are the chances? There is no coincidence in life, even though we think there are, you know.
I agree.
And yeah, and
I agree, yeah.
And so yes, it's a, you really had an early on discovery of self, way early on, and so what happened after that? Yeah, so you're 10.
Yeah, and
you're like,
you're
here
10.
My face has changed, this has changed, that has changed, and then what? Like, what grade were you in?
Probably 5th grade.
Okay.
That's also the age. So with that discovery also came self-conscious. My self-esteem started to change. I started to look at the people around me and go, why are they different? And I look like this, and why do they look like that?
Right.
Why do I act this way? I started to analyze my behavior, my upbringing. Why are my parents this way and other people's parents are this way? Why, money was really a topic of my reflection a lot. Why do some people have more money than others? Like, these were just things that would cross through my mind.
Yeah, I understand that too. Yeah. And how did that make you feel? Like, do you remember when you were questioning those things? Were you just questioning them, or did you feel like they had an impact on you moving forward, and how you associated maybe with other classmates or with the world around you?
Definitely an impact. I started to realize that maybe I wasn't, as materially wealthy as some of the people around me, but I aspired to have more, or I aspired to get to like a different level. Like that's around the time when I started entering high school. I was like, okay, how am I going to start to make some money?
I think everybody's doing that. Everyone, no matter what class they're in. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And now I look back and I'm like, I think the true goal is like to be content no matter what you have. My perspective shifted a lot as I got older as well.
When did that happen for you?
Well, I had a big shift in that perspective when I went on a mission trip to the Dominican Republic in I think it was, we're in 2025.
Yes, it's okay.
So it was 2016, I believe, that I went in November.
9 years ago.
Yes, with a beautiful organization that I still volunteer with called Misiones Pax. And they take medical and dental supplies to communities in Latin America. And this specific community is called El Pocito.
Okay.
It's on the border of Haiti and the Dominican Republic.
Wow.
And so I was 18, I think, when I went. And I saw that these people, as poor as they are, with little access to resources, care, right? These luxuries that we don't even see as luxuries in this country, and we're in America, by the way.
Yeah.
They were so happy. There was so much joy, and they were so connected to God. They were praising the Lord. They were grateful for their blessings. They were abundant in other ways. Even though they didn't have a shower inside their home, they still had water. Even though they didn't have a pharmacy that they could go to, they had us coming to give them medicine, and they were grateful.
Wow. That's really a testament for like spiritual being, focusing on the spiritual and not the material. And there are a lot of communities like that in the world. And that I'm sure was very humbling and gratifying and eye-opening for you. And 18, did you just finish high school?
Yeah.
And was this like through a church that you were involved with, or was this how did you find this organization? Like, what led you to this? Because that's from 10 to 8. There's some years missing over here.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah. So, but that's okay. We can go backwards. We can move forward. We can stay and come back to the present. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, because I think between 10 to 18, or I think maybe 19, I was still in my, I want to fit in. I want to look good. I want to be part of the in crowd. I was maybe involved in stuff that didn't really serve my highest good.
Okay.
But I learned a lot,
Yes.
But yes, this trip, how did I become involved with Misiones PAX? Through my parents and through my family. My Aunt Reb, shout out to Reb. She got me this bracelet. She gave it to me today, actually.
Is that a sunflower?
Yeah.
That's the logo of my Soul Journey Talk.
No coincidences.
Is this the aunt we were talking about the other day?
No, that's my Aunt Rose.
Okay.
Shout out to Rose as well.
Well, they're both very intuitive.
Oh, yeah.
Because that literally is the logo it's part of my Soul Journey Talk logo.
My family is very...
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well,
spiritual, connected, religious. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, there's being religious, and then there's being spiritual, and they are two different things. And so look at that.
Yeah. But she has been friends with the vice president of Misiones PAX. Her name is Nikki. She's been friends with her for a really long time.
Okay. All right.
And so I think through there, and then my parents found out, and then my parents kind of roped me into it.
Okay.
But I'm grateful they did.
Yeah.
Every year I help them put together a fundraiser where we perform, and so maybe next year you can perform with me.
I would love to. Mezzo, soprano, duets.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
They're very, very welcoming.
Beautiful
crowd, and it's a really good cause.
Okay. Yes, I'm very happy to perform. I just finished emceeing a Goddesses Night event from Chemise to Hope for the Agape Network. That was basically curated, organized, and created by Beatrice Naranja, who also goes by Bea Azahar. That's her belly dance name, and it's third year in a row, and my second year emceeing. First year I sang. I opened the show with Over the Rainbow. So, and I'm more than happy to, to do stuff like that. I believe in community because that's what we're here for, is to give back, whether we have a lot or a little bit. Yeah. So I would be more than happy to sing at the next, fundraiser event. Absolutely. It's on. It's on.
Yeah.
It's on.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
We'll see it's next year. So.
Okay.
But that is something I still, even though I cannot physically go to the mission trip every year.
No, but you're still a part of it.
Yeah.
And that trip that you went and took abroad, how many times have you done that? Only that one time?
Yeah, only once.
Okay.
It is something I'm interested in doing again.
Okay.
And
I can imagine, college. I mean, you probably went to college after that experience. And then we both know what it is to be in the music school.
Yeah.
It took me 7 years to get my bachelor's because I was at Miami-Dade Community College at the time. It was not the college of today. MDCC. Your MDC and mine is MDCC. Yeah. And then from there I went to UM and studied. And so it took me 10 years. I mean, not 10 years, 7 years to get the bachelor's. But it feels like it took 10. Who knows? And but yeah. And so so college comes in, life just takes a hold. So when you were there, what was it like the moment that you landed, or was it just like during the process? Were you there for a week, 2 weeks, a month?
It's like 5 days. It's very but so much happens within those 5 days.
Okay.
I think it's when I was working with a child. I don't know if it's we give out backpacks, we teach them how to brush their teeth, little workshops and things like that. And I was looking at a little girl, and she was so happy, and she was like one of the most joyful children I've ever seen. But I looked at her head, and her head was full of like wounds, and she had like parasites on her head. And it's hard for me to even speak about it because it's like, it's something I feel like that is taboo even in this country. We really look down on people that don't have access to hygiene. We cast them out, you know. There's so much homelessness in this country.
That's definitely is. We could be here for days talking just about that topic. So but in this moment in time, it is not taboo. We are speaking about it. So go ahead and elaborate then on that experience, if you don't mind.
And it shocked me because I'd never seen, first, a child so young like that, and I never seen anybody that had that condition.
Yeah.
And it was just shocking, and I'm like, wow. And it just made me zoom out so much and put into perspective all of my privilege, and it really changed my life.
Yeah.
It changed the way I see things, and once I came back here, I was like, I don't think I can ever like feel the same, honestly.
So that was your first huge life-changing moment, would you say?
No.
So
I had another big like spiritual experience
before that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're backtracking. So so then this leads me to ask you, Catherine,
what is this? These other life-changing moments.
So what was the one before that?
Well, there might be a couple.
Okay.
But another big one was when I was hospitalized for the first time. When I was 18, I was a senior in high school, and I was going through some mental health issues, so I stayed at a hospital stay.
Okay.
And another taboo thing, right?
not in my world.
You know, I'm
not here at Soul Journey Talk. So
I spilled all the blueberries.
It's okay.
I might as well eat.
Okay.
One.
So what was that like? What were you going through, if you don't mind sharing?
I was going through depression. I think I was, now I look back and I feel like I was going through kind of an awakening of gifts.
Okay.
That I didn't know how to handle or manage, and that weren't seen as valuable in society compared to a lot of my peers who were getting perfect scores on their AP exams and the SAT and getting into Ivy League schools.
Right.
I was excelling in music, in songwriting, in my creative arts, and even though that was super personal to me and it was valuable in its own way, I wasn't shining in the way that...
On paper.
Yeah, I wasn't shining on paper.
In the academic world. You're a creative. If it wasn't for that, we never would have met.
Right.
We met doing West Side Story with Miami Acting Company.
Shout out Miami Acting Company.
Woo-hoo! I met so many beautiful souls, creatives, artists, performing artists through that company. They have a special place in my heart. Yeah.
Me too.
They actually gave me my first opportunity to perform in community theater or any theater going on around here. So
yeah. That was an awesome production.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy.
Yes, thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Irene.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Irene. They were both director and assistant director. It was that was a beautiful experience. So, but which we are going to be definitely talking about your music,
okay?
Because I feel that that's definitely part of your discovery of self, your soul journey, and like most creatives, that's where we actually either deal with new findings or find ourselves, because we just started sitting and writing and creating or singing, and so if it wasn't for music, we wouldn't have known each other.
No.
But back then, being in high school, I know what you mean. It's like, how do you fit into the norm? Do you still feel that you need to fit into the norm now? or do you like being not normal?
I've become more and more accepting of my eccentricities and
Yay!
oddness.
That's good.
But it is challenging.
Yeah.
It is
I
challenging.
can imagine.
Especially
Yeah.
in certain environments like academia, or, you know, even within certain family dynamics, or it depends who you're around, you know. But I do feel like we are sent into environments to influence, right?
Okay. And educate?
Yeah, like I was telling
Educate those people that are very like academic.
Well, I don't
The
know.
lawyers, the doctors, the teachers, the how do you say, the ones with the quote unquote normal jobs. I think it is part of our job being a creative is educating these people that if it wasn't for the arts and creativity, we wouldn't have the universal language that connects everybody.
But I also think that everyone deep down is a creative.
Yes, I agree too. Even the mathematician.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a level of creativity there.
Absolutely.
It's
the
just
science,
about
the math, the
do
medical.
they allow themselves?
Even the word, you know, in law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you allow yourself to tap into that part of you?
We're here to educate them and inspire them so that they can. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was telling some friends at a church, like, I feel like the closer I get to God, the more like people, the more I'm sent into these environments where people are like the complete opposite.
Because you need to shed your light everywhere. So you were dealing with all these things and you found yourself in hospital in your senior year of high school.
Yeah, well,
yeah. And
it took a lot of like healing and forgiveness to get past that moment, but my parents were the ones who noticed, like, hey, I think that you need some help, because it's gotten to a certain point where, like, you know, it doesn't seem like the therapy's working.
Okay.
I was on the couch, like, saying, you know, I didn't want to be alive anymore. Really low moments, you know. I also was probably not involved with the best people. Like,
well, I mean, you know, things happen for us, not to us. So by that happening, that led you to the care that you needed, which has now led you to embracing who you are in every way, right?
Yeah. And the fact that I'm even talking about it is pretty big, because there was a lot of shame around that. It was very strange. You know, when I went back to school, they knew like something had happened, but I wasn't really ready to talk about it. And even if I did talk about it, what was that going to do? You know, it was just going to ostracize me more. So I was just like, yeah, I had to be in the hospital, you know, and that was really about it. I had my best friend, Valerie. She was someone that I really confided in, and she kind of knew what was going on, and she understood. And she's a creative as well. She's very close to God in her own way as well. So she was really my rock during that time. But yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes is one friend, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, I can count on my hand. Like, I'm very fortunate to have friends that I've known since childhood that I still keep up with today.
That's beautiful.
So, you know, I prayed to God for a sister, and that didn't happen, but he sent me
multiples.
He sent me beautiful friends.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you actually for sharing something that was so dark in your life, and just, I'm very honored that you actually shared that. I didn't know this. This is a surprise. Soul journey talk. You know, yeah. So I'm blessed and honored to be a part of this conversation with you. It's amazing. And what have you done since then? I mean, that was like 9 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So
about to go on 10 years of graduating.
That led you going to the mission trip then?
That led me to having to stay in Miami and go to FIU.
There you go.
If I hadn't stayed in Miami and gone to FIU, I wouldn't have gone on the mission trip.
Okay.
So it's like sometimes we want to be in environments like I was dying to go to UF.
Yeah.
Like, all my friends are going there. Like,
oh, okay.
I was a family legacy. Like, I got in. My mom was like, "There's no way that you're going there. You just like you were hospitalized this year. Like, things are all over the place." She knew that some people that were not the best influences were also going there. The party culture, you know, I was like deep into like
okay.
partying, and she didn't want me to continue in that lifestyle.
Okay.
Not like FIU is really that much less of a party school.
It's who you gravitate to.
Right. If you're looking for it,
I
you'll
mean,
find
it's
it.
everywhere. It's just not just here in Miami or in Florida or in America. It's you can find whatever anywhere.
Yeah.
In the world.
Especially my first year, I could have been like more focused for sure. But I was coming out of that.
Yeah.
Feeling like I don't fit in. Like the only way I can really fit in is when I'm like at a party and there's, you know, substances. Like I don't feel awkward. I don't feel weird. I don't feel like people are pushing me away. Like it's like everyone's comfortable, everyone's loose, right? Which leads to other, it leads to other challenges. Yes. Other problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not condoning underage partying.
Oh boy.
But it's something that you know.
It's something that is actually more common than we would like to think, which is, you know.
Yeah.
That that's why moms against drunk drivers but that also is teenagers driving drunk that are not even legal to be drinking or partying or taking substances. So, but well, this leads to my next question then. So these experiences that you had in all of that, was there a moment or a time or a specific happening that maybe was an awakening or an enlightenment moment for you? Did it take many years?
It took many years.
And did
it was
you
like little moments along the way?
Okay, so when you went to FIU, were you gravitated to the same kinds of people, or did you end up like meeting other kinds of people? Like more...
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
So I did live in a dorm for a year.
I've never done that, but I hear it's an experience and a half.
And a half is correct. Had roommates, had a lot of people that were not in the music world at all. So that's why I was still like...
You were like in two different worlds.
I was in two different worlds.
Yeah, and that's hard too to manage and balance. You know, it's all about balance. And so how do I balance my roommates and living in with them in day in and day out, right? And then I'm here with all these music students and music world and performance and yeah.
No. The answer is you don't.
What did young adult Catherine do?
Young adult Catherine slowly found her way to new friends. I met some creatives, you know, fellow creatives in the music school that are still near and dear to my heart to this day. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. I joined, and then out of that, I also found my way. I joined a music fraternity, which, for better or worse, was grounding. Okay. In a sense. You know, there's no perfection. Everything comes with challenges.
we ourselves are perfectly imperfect. So, yeah, but you know, I'm sure you can agree with this next statement that I'm going to say. Things happen for us, not to us.
Yeah.
And so, like you said earlier, like you feel like things, like the more that you are closer to God, the divine, the more it's like he sends you to these circumstances or people that are like different and maybe have lost their way or you know, and what did I say? So you can shine your light for them, you know, who are opposite than you. That's what I think we're here to do, is really love, forgive, have understanding, compassion, empathy, you know. it's all of that.
Yeah, it can be challenging because sometimes, you know, people hurt you and they don't understand where it's coming from. You don't understand where it's coming from. But then you have to zoom out and be like, oh, it's a lesson.
Yes, it's exactly what it is. But when we're in it, we're like, oh, why is this happening to me? Oh my gosh, right? And it becomes, you know, it becomes a very like huge thing emotionally, mentally, even verbally, the things that we say to ourselves or what we're hearing. And it's a psychological and physical and spiritual happening too. It affects us in every single way. And then it took me decades to have that understanding of it doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And so that, like, I am like twice your age. I'm going to be 54 very soon. So I'm 53 and holding right now.
You don't look it.
For another month and a half. Thank you. You're too kind. But it took me decades before I had that, you know, when I had my spiritual awakening, that was one of the first lessons or first teachings that I learned, was things happen for you, not to you. But when you're in it, like, you know, even now with all the awareness that I have, there's so much more for me to learn and grow from. And even still, like, I find that natural instinct. And then it's like, okay, wait a minute. What's the lesson? And that's really what it is. What's the lesson? I mean, I'm sure.
And you teach too.
And
like teaching, like you've taught me already so much. Yeah. Like sometimes it's like, okay, you've learned so much up until a certain point. Now it's time for you to teach others.
It's hand in hand. I was teaching music and dance for a very long time before my awakening happened. And then I realized I was doing energy work, which then led to me creating Connect Mind, Body, and Soul, which is what I originally called it. And then it became something like Connect to the Inner Goddess and all of that, which is all the same thing. And so where I use colors and breath and movement to connect with all the different energy levels of the body, or chakras, or color zones, however anyone wants to think about it. But yeah, but I'm still learning. There's still so much to learn. And I feel that, because you teach music too, you teach kids, you teach juniors, you teach teens now, you know, I mean, you just came from Italy. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But don't you find that even when you're struggling through something and you're going through something, that you, as you're teaching and you're going through whatever in your personal life and you're trying to keep it over here in the back of your mind, and, you know, because right now you're in teacher mode and you're giving all that you are to your students. Don't you find though that you're also learning?
1,000%.
Yes. So.
I learn from and that's why I tell people, hold on, let me fix this.
Like, never underestimate the intelligence of a child. I learn from 5-year-olds sometimes more than I learn from adults. I don't know what that is, but there's some, if you can hear something happening here.
That's just our natural Miami soundscape.
It's summer.
It was bound to
happen, right?
Yeah.
Well, earlier they were cutting grass everywhere. They'll hit my lawn tomorrow, but I'm kind of glad that it's like, I feel like we're in a fairy garden, and, you know, where everything is like,
we're gonna prance,
wild. Yeah. So may God and the angels and Jesus and Mother Mary and all the archangels be with all these people in their hour of need.
Yes.
Always
Amen.
some prayers. And so, yeah.
But I always say, like, there's something to learn from everyone.
Yes.
If you go to a kindergarten presentation and you sit there, I know sometimes sometimes we're like, oh, it's just a kid's show. No, we can learn so much from children.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Those are some of my favorite. Like when I teach the 5-6-year-olds, or I taught for so many years at Scarlet Center Stage, both belly dance, flamenco, piano, and voice while I was there. And so not just my like little ones, and don't get me wrong, I was truly inspired by all the age levels that I taught, but it was the 2- and 3-year-olds that are just, oh my gosh, just, you know, and a whole bunch of them. I don't know how Scarlett does it. She's she's magic. Red hair, green eyes. That is the truth. And it's just like, wow, how did you do that? And then what they're giving everyone on the day of the recital, you know what I mean, on the stage with lights, costume, makeup, everything. And it is amazing. But even in the week to week or day to day interactions with the young ones, it is such a blessing. It really is. Those are the ones that steal my heart. They steal my heart. Like the one behind the camera today steals my heart.
Like you really love them. Aww.
Yes, I've known Brianna since, how old were you?
Like a baby.
Yeah, I think you were a toddler.
Yeah, like 2 or 3.
2. Wow.
Yeah. Stole my heart.
Yeah. And never let it go.
No, really, it was like that. It was like that. Your mom knows. I love her like as if she was my own. For real.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and it is a beautiful feeling to have. But I learned so much from them. Like Brianna, for instance, I'm sure she's not going to mind for me to say this. One of the most creative souls that I've ever met in my entire life. From like 2 years old, building, like coming up with a story and then showing it to us when we were done teaching dance. And she, I don't know how, with what she did, with whatever toys were around, she created like the castle or the fort or the city or the town. And here's where the cupcakes are. This is the cupcake store. And just creating a whole story. Aww. Yes. And that's what we're here to do, is to really like tap into our imagination and creativity. And you know, fairies and unicorns do exist. Yes, she's nodding her head. Yes, they do. I told you she was there. Yeah, they do. So
I was so into fairies as a kid.
I'm not surprised.
Well, me and my friend Bianca, she was my best friend in 1st grade. I still have her on socials.
Like 6 and 7, 6 or 7.
Yeah, 6 years old. We would make jam.
Quote,
we would get jelly from our parents' fridge. They were like, we need to make jam for the fairies.
Okay.
And we would leave it in like a tiny little jar. And we would leave it out. And I just remember the room outside my window.
Uh-huh.
I still think it's magical.
Of course.
It's still,
of course,
blessed by angels.
Yes. Absolutely.
There's a portal there.
Yeah, I believe in that too.
But when I was a child, I left the jam and the bread for the fairies. And I swear overnight it was empty. And it didn't look like an animal had come, or like, and my parents didn't care. Like they weren't going to go out and like clean it up. No, I was like, the fairies ate it. And I was convinced. And,
okay.
And we would see them flying by the palm trees, and we would point them out to our mom. Mom, look, a fairy. And our moms are like, what are you talking about?
Aww.
But I have Bianca as my witness. And she's a very creative person as well.
It reminds me of a movie that I saw a long time ago about 2 little girls who were connected with fairies.
Yeah, I saw that.
I can't remember this movie. Oh my goodness, what the name of it is.
They're British.
Yes.
And they would go out into the woods and they would see the fairies.
Yes.
And they would try to take pictures of them.
Yes.
And people are like, I don't believe you.
Right.
And they're like, no, like,
but they really do exist. Yes. Yeah. So I do believe in them. I swore that I dreamt of unicorns. Little. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just, I feel like sometimes our dreams take us to alternate timelines, dimensions, places that our human minds can't really conceptualize.
I agree. Yeah. Sometimes there are dreams that we have that make no sense. And we may not realize what that dream meant until maybe a week later, a month later, or even a year later. And it comes back like as a flash. But like, then, yeah.
I texted my friend last night. I had a dream with her swimming with penguins. And I'm like, I just saw you swimming with penguins.
Oh,
like, let that...
Do you know what penguins symbolize?
No.
Well, they're known for like... they're always on the search for their true mate.
Wow.
And some of them, it takes years for them before they find their mate. And they don't mate with any other penguin but their mate. I believe that's how that goes.
She's on a search for her true mate.
Well, maybe her...
She may have found her true mate.
Maybe.
That's not for me to...
No, but penguins are all the animals are spiritual, I feel.
Oh, yes.
All living things are spiritual, just like we are spiritual and animals are spiritual. So penguins have a spiritual meaning. Like the peahens and the peacocks, right? They represent abundance. So the fact that they're here today,
Yeah, I'm very,
you know,
personally very connected to peacocks, and
yeah. So
they
the
kind of follow me.
penguins, and they live in the cold.
Yeah, I'm not personally connected to penguins all that much, but maybe my friend, that might be her spirit.
Does she? It
animal.
could be her spirit animal, or it could be, maybe she's going to move to the northern regions of the world where it's cold. I don't know. Does she like the cold weather?
Well, she just moved, so I thought it might symbolize like her needing to kind of assimilate to her new environment,
Okay, that might. There you go.
which is a conversation I need to have more with her.
Of course, yes. But this is how dreams go, though. This
Yeah.
is exactly what happens with dreams. They just, they're weird. I've had some weird ones that make no sense whatsoever. And people that don't know each other, they're in and out of the frames of the dreams. And it's like, and this is me in the dream going like that. And then I wake up going like that. Like,
Yeah, I feel like I scare people sometimes with, I'm like, hey, I had a dream about you and this, and that.
oh,
And it creeps them out.
I've actually used to be very timid to say, I had a dream and I don't know what it means, but this is what happened. And it was very colorful and very like in focus, or it was blurry but very colorful, but this is what was happening and this is what was said. And I've reached a point in my life where I just will call up the person even if they haven't heard from me in a long while.
God.
And
I
I'll
hate
be
to do
like,
that.
hey, how are you? It's always like either happy, whatever the day is, like happy Monday, happy Saturday, and I know it's been a while, this and that, but I had a dream about you and would love to speak with you about it. If you can chit chat, let me know. And yeah, and but I used to be very timid about that. And in the last few years of my life, I'm not. And because I believe it's a gift, there's a message, even if we don't understand it. And it's like God speaking through me to connect with that person that maybe needs to hear something,
Yeah.
you know?
And I've always had dreams from the time I was a child.
Wow.
I just,
How did you deal with that from a child?
I just understood. I always understood that there was symbolism in dreams. I feel like I have three categories of dreams.
Okay.
Some of them are purely just subconscious mumbo jumbo.
Okay.
Like I'm just dreaming of a random whatever just because my brain is processing. Some of them are...
Do you think you're getting downloads?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes it really is just random.
Yeah.
And I'll just be like, oh, I dreamed of coffee. Okay, like whatever. Maybe I need to drink coffee. Like, and then, but then some of it is me, my soul expressing its desires, right? Like,
yeah,
like a dream of like, I want this to happen, or like, and it feels very physical. And then I have another category of dreams where I see people in the spirits visit me, you know.
How do you see them? Do you see them like in human form, or do you see them as a light being, or
I see them
work?
as themselves, but they look different, and I feel their auras in the dream.
Do you feel them, or do you see them?
See.
You see them, so you see different colors and...
Yeah, mostly I can gauge their level of light. Yeah.
Can you elaborate? Can you elaborate more? No, because I actually had I've only had one experience of seeing an aura, and that was last year. It was actually about a year ago, and I haven't had one since, not even in a dream. But it was so beautiful. And so, how do you gauge the color? Like, what do you mean by that?
So
I am. We may be here for 5 hours. I don't know, but we're going to keep going. Okay.
I don't necessarily see color as much as I see variations of light and shadow.
Okay.
So somebody who's maybe not in such a good place with their soul.
Okay.
Because we have we all have a soul journey.
I
but
agree.
some of us make certain choices that allow us to live it out to a fuller extent than others.
All right. Dealing with our shadow self and our light self.
Yeah, so if people are really stuck in their shadow, or if you're stuck in a darkness, a depression, a spiritual rut, sometimes I, like, 2 more recent instances, I saw a person where their back was turned to me. So I could only see the back of their body. And it was just a very dark, like, shadowy presence. It was them. They were wearing clothing. They had their same skin tone. They had their same hair. And I felt their spirit. I knew it was them.
Right.
But I could only sense that their spirit was maybe, what I feel is a little lost.
Okay.
Lost or wrapped up too much in just not living intentionally, not living purposefully, not thinking from a higher place, maybe. I also, people appear distant, right? So the farther away someone is, the more I feel like they're in their shadow space, or they're not even making an effort to connect. That to me is like, because we're all connected, right?
I believe that. I've seen us in the angel realm, as just light beings, and we are all connected. It was during a meditation, during an angel class that I took with actually a wonderful healer and psychic named Ana Maria Beneda, and I love her. And she's the one that I told you about that does the angel circles. And we were doing a meditation. This was during the pandemic, and we were all on Zoom. And in the meditation, it was like we all lifted. Our souls went like to a higher plane, and I saw all of us like in a circle as just like white iridescent beings, and we were all connected. There was not one person, or one being, I should say, that was out of like the connection. We were all our unique selves, but all one. When I had that experience, it's one thing to hear and be, I really feel that and this and that, but it's another when you have an experience like that it's like, it's a knowing. It's not a belief anymore. I know that we are one. So yes, I'm sorry, I just had to share that. Yeah,
it's perfect.
That's beautiful. Yeah,
and it just
because we are. You're right. We're all one.
Yeah, and God is one, right?
Yeah.
So, and I like to reference the Bible because that's like, for those who are watching, right? Like, I grew up Catholic.
Yeah.
I've kind of slip and slide through Christianity.
Woven in and out of that.
Woven in and out of Christianity throughout my spirituality. But in the Bible, it tells us we are all made in the image of God and God's likeness. And so if we look like God, right, that means that God is
all of us.
Yeah. We all have. It also says in the Bible that the Holy Spirit dwells within each of us.
Yes. Amen.
So every person has the Spirit in them. Every person has. That's why when you look at someone's face,
you're making me want to cry, because that is a truth.
And when you look at someone, you're looking at God.
Such a truth. Yeah.
And you're looking at yourself.
Right.
And you're looking at a mirror.
Yeah. That's what this whole video podcast series is about. Soul Journey Talk is that.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit dwells within all of us. Yeah. So it's true.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes. So
yeah. A lot of connection today. Love it.
I don't know where we were before that.
We were talking about dreams.
Dreams.
And how you gauge the color. It's really, like you said, light or shadow, as opposed to like colors like red, blue, green, yellow, turquoise, pink,
I do see
purple
colors in my dreams often. But
I mean, as auras or just colorful dreams? Yeah.
More as if I see, it's like hard to explain because it's like so visual and so like like you just feel it.
Yes,
Like this. Like yes.
It's like it's not like getting a vision. It's like feeling the vision.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's also
yeah.
like the interpretation of the vision is what really matters at the end of it.
Okay.
Like what appears to me is what I say the Lord, right? Because I feel like these dreams
is God.
Is God. It can also be sent. I do have dark dreams that are not sent from God, and that's been part of my journey, is to discern like what's coming from light and what's coming from darkness.
Do you think though maybe that the dreams that you have that you feel come from darkness, or maybe like the lower energy levels of the body that you are living in, or the soul, the maybe like unfinished business, hidden layers that need to be brought out, as opposed to like an energy, a lower vibrational energy that maybe is coming to you? Do you?
It's my own.
It's your own.
Yeah, it's my own shame or guilt or something that I need to process to like work through.
Thank you for admitting that. Because that's the hardest thing to do for all of us.
Yeah.
Is to look in the mirror and see the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful of ourselves. And I had to do that. And, actually it was easier for me to recognize my bad and ugly because they were right there front and center. I knew that there was good things about me, but to see the beauty in me was very difficult. It was the last thing that I was able to do. And to accept all of me. So when you have these dreams that come from the darkness or the shadow self, as I like to verbalize it, everything is semantics, so we can understand it in a certain way. We can,
right, or like the devil,
or the devil is an energy. It's not really a being.
But if I tell someone like, oh, I had a dream from the devil, not from God, like that might resonate better with someone.
With somebody, okay, yeah, So that's how you are able to interpret it, not only for yourself but for others to understand you, as it is. It's all about language.
Yeah. Language is sometimes it can be a mask for me.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm like, okay, I need to put on this mask of like using this vocabulary. But it's like my soul knows that this is the time and place to use this type of vocabulary because that's what's going to resonate with this person.
Correct. I understand what you mean. But you know that the language that you and I speak the same language. So we don't need to go there.
Yeah.
So it's always
since
day one, even when we were working on West Side Story, we never had these deep conversations. I saw beautiful light emanating from you.
Oh, thank you.
Through your eyes, your face, your skin. It was like you were always glowing.
Oh my gosh.
And you would open up your mouth and sing, even in rehearsals. And sometimes you'd be like, well, I'm sorry everyone. I'm not feeling 100%. And we'd be like, shut up. We'd be like, shut up. I'm like, you sound like an angel. What is that? What is that? You still sound like an angel.
Thank you.
The day of the show, you're going to be in tip-top form because it's true. We only go by how we're feeling, especially as singers. It's how do we feel? So if we're feeling aligned in the way we feel, this is the way we should be feeling to perform and sing, then we feel that we have it all together. But sometimes it's not. But
I really did feel good in that show. I did feel like I was like my voice was probably one of the best times I've ever sung. I was just so connected to that music, so connected to that character. I also had a certain energetic support from a certain individual,
Oh yeah, I do. It's up to you if you want to talk about that or not. But I mean, divine counterparts are very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, divine counterparts, soulmates sometimes too.
Yeah, we could be here all day.
I mean, romantic connection.
Well, we have what I believe we make soul contracts with certain people to come in this life and have a romantic relationship, sharing life with that person, and learning, really what we do is we make a contract to learn lessons from that person. And then sometimes, at least with my experience, God clashes you, bang, with a divine counterpart, and that is unexpected, comes completely from left or right field, whichever one you feel, that you connect with as the opposite side of you. And it just sort of like rocks your world to a point where you feel like you're going upside down, or
Did a full 180.
yeah, there we go. And yes, I love Dua Lipa.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah, maybe. And so that was that experience for me anyway. Was it was hard. It was one of the hardest things I've ever lived through, but it got me closer to me. My soul contract, or my lessons to learn with my ex-husband, was really about self-love, self-respect, self-worth, and also what does self-care really mean, and self-kindness. And I learned it, which is why I made the decision to have a divorce. I felt love never dies, but it does change. And whatever love I was feeling, I could feel it dying from him, which was a slow death, which was very, very difficult. But what I was feeling was really the transformation and transmutation of my soul and my connection to him, and me then having this change of me evolving and growing spiritually. And so love is still there. It's just change. Love is energy. So energy never dies, but it can change. And so that happened. And then when I met my divine counterpart, that was a total big, like boom, 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 like an explosion. But 33 days after meeting him, I saw in a dream that we are connected divinely. And it was divine love. And I saw beautiful white light shimmering and glittering. And when it's like we hugged in the dream, heart to heart, and this beautiful divine white light of love just like sprang and bursted through our hearts. And then all I saw was this light. And what I felt was completeness and home. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever dreamed. Probably the most beautiful thing that I've dreamt so far is that connection to God and God's love and what that means. And that's beautiful. Did I get hurt from that connection? Absolutely. Tremendously. Did I learn more about myself? Yes. And the for me is that I'm here today, stronger and loving myself more and respecting myself more and being able to stand on my own 2 feet and be able to create, and host a podcast like this.
Yes.
Because it's a journey.
Amen.
It's a journey. It's a journey. Everything's a journey. And so that's been my experience, without getting into too much detail. And so
yeah, mine is a little fresh, which is just
I feel it's fresh too. It's fresh still, but it's at the same time I believe I've come to the other end of that fire, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if I'm at the end. I'm not convinced. But
as one of my friends told me, you have the right to feel whatever you're feeling.
Yeah.
And you take as long as you want to sit in that feeling.
Like, I still have hope, And
I have hope too, but it's not for this life. Too many things happened that everything was such a feeling of purity that it no longer stayed pure. The coreness of that love connection is pure, but it doesn't mean that there aren't some, like, I hate to use the word stains, but that's like looking at a piece of beautiful white material, the finest, and you see a little beige spot here and a little beige spot there. It's now there are some things that have happened. So I just pray that the coreness of that love or that connection is pure when we meet again in another life or another dimension. But it's not, things happened, so it's no longer just in its pure state. There's now layers to it. There are other layers, there are other colors in there, which led me to where I am now. So I can't erase that. I don't want to erase that, not even my experience with my ex, because then I wouldn't be where I am today, and it would be like slapping God in the face,
right,
and my soul, and I can't do that. So but
it forces you to level up
mm-hmm.
and like really think about yourself, your behaviors, your choices, your patterns.
Yes, patterns. Oh, again, God brought someone into my life that showed me that their behavior is in a certain way leads me to behave in a certain way. So why do those patterns make me behave in these kind of patterns?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was that what it was for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's okay if you're not yet out of that, if you're not on the other side of that. It's part of the journey.
I just feel like everything that happens, like, I understand where you're coming from with like the purity has been a bit tainted, and like, but that's part of being human, and it's like the illusion of our humanness. So I still have hope, even if it's just a tiny glimmer of hope, that illusion, that we can rise above that and remember the purity, because
that's what I'm holding on to, is that core feeling, that pureness.
Yeah. But
you
do have a point. It might not be this lifetime, and we have to accept that. And so I feel like I'm doing my best, and that's what I can do.
And that's all you can do. That's all we can do, is do our best. Because at the end of the day, we only have control over what we can do. So I only have control over how I'm going to feel about something and how I'm going to handle it. Choose how I'm going to react. Even if I'm still being triggered to react in a certain way, I do recognize that I'm able to go, no, that's that. You've gone through so much, Sophia. You don't need to do that anymore. And kind of like take it, in a different direction, to where I'm kinder to self. Our favorite cocoa water.
I wasn't even going to show it.
Yeah, that's
not
okay.
Sponsored.
There's not sponsoring, that's right. But yeah, so it is very interesting. All of the people that come in and out of our lives. There are people that stay with you forever and ever, all throughout all your life, just like your primary angels and your guardian angels. And then there are people that just come in for a split second. I have had some of the most profound, deep conversations with people on a bus that I've never seen before or since. This was during my college years, but so poignant. And I may not remember what they told me, but I remember still how they made me feel. And that is what's lasting. And it's feeling, and that's what it is. Love, emotions, emotions are energy in motion, right? So yeah, that's where we it's just the energy of all that and feeling all of that, and yeah, I mean, I'm like remembering that one memory. Yeah, like it just you know.
And some people, like, you swear they're gonna be there, ride or die forever. All the signs point to it, and then we all have free will, right?
Yeah.
So they make a choice, or you make a choice that kind of alters destiny, fate. I don't really believe that there's like anything really written, set in stone. I think we come in, we have a higher goal, a higher mission, and you make choices.
So you don't believe in fate?
Not really.
Oh, I do. But destiny is where we make the choices. Destiny determines, our choices determine the destiny. But I do believe in fate, like two people meeting, a friendship, I too have experienced a friendship where, my 3 a.m. phone call, and walked away from our friendship a year ago, actually. And that hurt so much. And I realized there was a pattern of certain kind of feeling for me, that where all the people in my life that I was very close with, at some point or another, became estranged with me or abandoned me. And I realized that I actually abandoned myself. And so her leaving our friendship was a blessing. That was the lesson, the blessing. But of course, it's a beautiful soul that I learned so much from, who was a part of my entire like spiritual awakening and my journey. And all I can do is wish her love and light. That's it. You know, but that was my lesson for sure. So you're right. You think that they're your ride or die, your 3 a.m. phone call, and
yeah, I've lost a lot of people. It's part of
growing life. Yeah,
part of life.
And with the people that you like, is there any one specific like experience that you want to share, maybe, that really is like a poignant like happening in your soul journey?
Yeah, there's 2 people that come to mind, but I think they're just all of them. They who will not be all the Voldemorts. All the Voldemorts. I learned so much. And
are these love relationships or friendships that we're talking about?
You know, the thing about me is that, and it's part of my having to learn boundaries as well. But a lot of my friendships crossed into that zone of like, are we friends? Are we lovers? Do I love you? Are we going to be together? No. Yes. No. Yes. 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 Oh, okay. Never mind. Right.
Okay.
So that was me having to learn, like, maybe not every, like, maybe have some patience and wait for God to send you your person, which is the journey that I'm on now.
Me too.
But I didn't. I thought I knew better.
Been there for a long while now.
I liked to force things a lot.
Yeah. To be in control. That was another thing. Even though we don't think we're doing it, we're doing it. Even though we have the best intentions, right? But it's that letting go.
I'm a control freak.
You're an Aquarius. You're a dreamer.
Yeah.
You're air.
I am air, but I'm fixed air.
I'm a fixed fire. Yeah, I know.
I like things my way.
Yes, we do.
So I'm sorry.
Fixed signs do.
If I've ever come off as controlling in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Unknown person who may be watching this. I don't know. You don't know who keeps up with you.
No, we don't know. But also there may be someone that is watching this, that will be watching this in the world, who maybe are going to be like, oh my gosh, you're speaking my life, you're speaking my language, you're speaking, like, there's no one around, like,
that's true.
And this is, why I want to do this type of thing, because the discovery of self is so important. As my intro says, everyone has a story. That's what my yaya used to say, and it's true. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a story. And so I'm so happy to share your story today.
Thank you.
I know there's so much more that I'm okay. So we were with dreams, and then it got into the divine counterpart, and everything is interwoven, though. There's not just one direction in this kind of thing. Have you noticed that? Like, as you're dealing with one thing, something else hits you here, and it kind of then takes you there, and then you get something hit from the other way, and then you end up going like this. It's not like, my voice teacher has told me so many times that you are moving forward, but it's never a straight path.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going like this. It's always curving.
I think that's where some of my frustration comes from in life, where I just expect things to be like linear, and I'm learning a lot more. Yeah, I'm learning.
Oh, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling that so much. Yeah,
my life is actually more of a circle.
Right, but in that circle,
than it is a line.
But in that circle,
it's like our DNA.
You mean even. The vortex? you talking about when you say a circle? It's
I'm-
like being in and out of this vortex, or being out of it?
No, that's
Okay.
a different. But
Okay.
it's more like just the circle of life, like the patterns, the
Yeah.
rhythm, the law of
Uh-huh.
rhythm. Like, you know, you have your most amazing moment ever in your life, and then all of a sudden it's followed by something completely devastating, and then it's like,
Oh, I
am
know
I gonna sit? Am I gonna sit in this devastation? No, and then
Yeah.
it bounces back up.
Yeah.
But I think it's about learning to be comfortable, like wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes when I'm in the highs, right, of
Uh-huh.
life, I'm like, is this gonna last forever? Like, you get that anxiety of like, how do I keep this momentum going? Like, how do I recreate this feeling?
Or
And
you're just
then
on that high, and you just believe this is gonna be the way it's gonna be. Yay!
You're like, this is my life forever, right?
Yay!
And it's that anxiety that like causes that like inability to like just be in the moment, to just enjoy and to follow the joy.
Not for me. I don't even get that anxiety, which would probably be a good thing to have, to be like, oh, okay, is this gonna stay? Like, no, it's me like just being on this high, and then something happens, and I just
Yeah, you just fall.
Oh my god!
But then when you're in the devastation,
Because I do see.
I also
Yeah.
go through the same thing where I'm like, is this going to be forever? Like, is this my life now? Like, oh my gosh, like, how am I going to get out of this? And it's like, just now I'm starting to finally understand that it's like, you need both.
Balance. It's all about balance.
Your life cannot always be like 100% go,
Yeah.
go, go.
Yeah, it's all about balance.
Yeah.
And what a blessing that you're learning that in your 20s. I didn't really understand that until my 40s, and then was like, oh, how do I balance that? How do I balance that?
I think they're coming to visit us.
The mommy with her baby. Well, they always love coming over here and
I
eating
have
my
fruits
grass
for you.
and my.
Do you want blueberries?
Oh my God, she's got 3 babies.
Hello.
I don't know if the frame is catching that, but 3 little baby peahens or peacocks. We don't know yet.
That is so special.
Yeah. I've seen. Oh, maybe that's Poppy over there. The mom and the dad look like teenagers. I call them the teenagers because they're young. And then I've had the great grandfather literally on this ledge over here that is like, I don't know, 7 feet of a tail, you know, like amazing. But there they are. Look, there's more than 3. Look at that.
They're beautiful.
They are
They're some
beautiful.
of my favorite animals.
They represent abundance. I love them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so everything.
know.
The journey is interwoven, is what I was saying earlier, and how we were talking about like the path. So
yeah.
So there are so many things to cover, but you know,
like Carole King, she sings about tapestry.
Yes.
Like, my life has been a tapestry. That's exactly what it is.
Look at that. Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
That is what life is.
I mean, and like going back to the Bible, just because I love my Bible.
That's, hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. These people, you know, holy men and women, they went through shitstorms. Like, they went through devastation. You know, the Israelites were completely uprooted out of their land. They were 40 years in the wilderness, you know, and so we have to think, like, when we're in these moments of wilderness, don't worry, I'm loved, I'm protected, I'm guided. I will be guided out of this.
Psalm 91 comes to mind.
Yeah.
That's every time I was sick really bad with pneumonia that I should have been put in the hospital, but I wasn't. I didn't go because I didn't have insurance for that. And I remember I thought, this is it. I'm going to die from this. And I read that around the clock, and it gave me comfort. It was the only thing that gave me comfort was that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I'm so happy that you were able to lean on that.
Yeah. So go ahead. I know I tend to interrupt sometimes, but you were saying...
I'm flowing. I don't know. I don't even know.
From the Bible, the Israelites were in the wilderness for 40 years. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but you segued perfectly. It was like, that we have to trust that.
Yes.
Even in our darkest moments, like, there is a way out.
divine timing. There's a reason for it.
Yes.
It's a for you, not a to you.
And what I've struggled with the most is patience. Oh my gosh.
High five. Patience, my mother used to say, is a virtue. And she was right.
It is.
So
it's a fruit of the spirit.
Yes. So patience. And it's interesting, when I met my divine counterpart, I was grieving my marriage, a friend's death, my grandmother's death, even though I had have a completely different outlook on death than most people. But it was still the grieving that, oh, these souls will never be here again physically in this life.
Yes.
That I can touch and hug and kiss and hear their voice and talk to them. And
grief is human.
It's right. And so and I made this divine counterpart, and then after that, not even a year later, the week before we actually had to open for West Side Story, my mom passes away, 8.5 months after my dad. And so that was then another one, even though it was how do you say, my mom's death was the hardest one for me to deal with, even though I have like I said, I shouldn't say completely different, because I don't know other people's, that's a generalizing, but I do have a different view than what other people will think of death. And but my mom dying was really hard on me, and the grieving. So I was grieving all of this stuff, grieving the divine counterpart and the experiences and all of that. And it took me, I don't know. I feel like I didn't go like this or in a circle. I feel like I did backflips and then tried to swim in the dark water to move forward again. And that's was so hard. And so my faith in God, divine timing of everything, I had to really believe that there is a divine timing of everything. And so God has proven it to me. So now it's not a belief anymore, it's a knowing. I know that there's a divine timing. Divine timing exists. It's just not on our timing. Like you were saying, control. I totally understand that. I totally understand what that is. Like wanting to be in control and wanting to fix it and oh no, if I just speak to this person and just share with them this, then everything's going to be, they're going to see it my way. No, that's a layer of ego, even though it's with the best interest in mind, trying to communicate from a higher perspective. That's still a layer of ego that doesn't work, because we have no control over how someone else is going to take that information. We're not going to have control over how someone feels about something. You may be able to have conversation with people and you all you're all in agreement, but each and every one of you are going to feel different. Just like 100 people can watch the same movie and each person is going to have something different to say about it. And it's like looking at a piece of art. It's the same thing.
I always
having
say,
a different perspective.
Everyone's relationship with God is going to be different, because think about the relationships you have in your life. Like your relationship with your parent is different from the relationship you have with your spouse, then with your friend, then with your coworker, and with your neighbor. Like, why would you think that God would be the same for everybody, single person?
Correct. Right. Some still question, and that's fine. And some
don't believe at all.
Right.
And that's to be respected
it's fine.
as well.
Yeah, it's fine, because we don't know what their journey is.
Right.
We don't know what their journey is here on earth, and we don't know what that purpose is for them, why they are going through that.
Some people are fully awakened and choose to completely ignore.
And that's a choice. What I always say.
Which is what I think my
divine counterpart
may.
It's all right.
Maybe going through it's a choice.
It's a choice. Well, of
you
course.
You can know better and still not do better.
I could say the same thing about all the people in my life too that have, not all the people, but I mean, we all have a choice. God loves us so much. He gives us the freedom to choose. So every day is a choice.
But then I look at myself and I'm like, you judging is your ego. Stop judging them. Stop judging their relationship with God. You don't know anything about what they
oh yeah,
so stop.
Yeah, from a young age, I never really judged people. I will tell you that judgment came back in my life, oddly enough, when I was in college, being in the performing arts. You tend I can only speak for myself. I tended to allow people to influence me on how I was going to view people. And so I started being the nitpicker and also being judgmental. Oh, well, that tone wasn't, didn't have the right vibrato on it, or blah, 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 blah. All this ridiculousness. Nonsense. To me, that's nonsense. And, then I realized, well, if I'm thinking about, and I'm talking like this about other people, other students, mind you, my peers, right? What are they saying about me? And I was like, I wasn't like this growing up. Why am I, I mean, I was dealing with a lot of insecurities. Like I wasn't good enough, but I never judged other people not being good enough. So why was I doing that? That's not right. That's not fair. And so I quickly took myself out of that. And I was like, I can't do that. I can't do that. And I cannot tell you what a lift that is, because from then on out, I was just able to enjoy everyone's journey and their performance. Like there's some that there's other students that you go to school with. Maybe you're not best buddies or whatever, but you are taking the same classes and you're witnessing their journeys and and then when they're on the stage, you can go like, oh my gosh, bravo.
There's
bravo.
a bond.
There's or just an appreciation, because now I've taken judgment out, and now I've allowed myself to only experience you now. And if I have the privilege, because that is a privilege, and the honor to actually witness something of what your journey is to get to that stage, more enjoyment.
Yeah.
Way more.
I have a lot of friends who are like, I can't even sit through a Broadway show because I'm just judging everything. And I'm like, I feel bad for you. Yeah, you just got to enjoy, because art is not perfect and it's healing and it's beautiful. But I grew up with my mom kind of telling me, but you have to judge. And so
isn't it one of the 10 commandments, thou shalt not judge?
No.
That is one of the 10 commandments.
I don't think that she means judge in the sense that judge people like you're bad, you're good. I think what she means to say more is use discernment. Okay. Or at least that's my interpretation of it.
Okay. It's a good interpretation. I mean, that's the way I want to believe it.
Yeah. I think discernment, because I get what she means. And she says, because if you don't judge what's right or wrong, then you'll just accept anything as correct. And then you're falling into what's incorrect for you, which does make sense. But I think that's less judgment and more discernment of, I can discern that you are a human being that's worthy of love and respect. I don't agree with your choices. Okay. I don't agree with your views, but I can still love you. Maybe it has to be from a distance. Okay. But I discern that you might not be the best person to have close to me in my life right now. Maybe if you're healing or growing, maybe in the future we can reconnect. That's more discernment to me than it is like judgment.
Or being objective, sort of like observing, making observations, like a third person, kind of taking yourself out of the equation and just like looking at all of whatever the situation of the person or the personalities and all of that, and then just peacocks everywhere. Peacocks and peahens. I know. I
love them.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely, it's not Palmetto Bay. It's Peacock Bay. But anyway, like taking that time to observe, and then, okay, I have a choice now to observe and say, now, is that good or is that bad? Yes, making discernment, making observation, and making that decision, this decision, which is a choice. It's, again, going back to choices. And what does that say? What does that do? You know, what does that mean? And why did this happen? And or questioning it, and or, you know, and taking ourselves out of that and observing. So yes, that's that, which is wise. That is a wisdom.
Yeah.
Yes, because, you know,
But
she doesn't,
the
like
vocabulary.
every parent, exactly. It's semantics, all about language. Because I'm sure every parent in the world does not want any of their child to just, you know, you know what I mean? See life like that. It's okay to be that way, but you need to also have some wisdom. And of course, you know, I have found some children to have wisdom from the get-go, like amazing. Those are other learning experiences that they are the teachers and I'm the student. And then there's those that are just want to live in the dreamland, la la land, fairy tale, live in a, you know, like a fairy garden, the unicorns, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's to be aware of who is in front of you. Does this person really have your best interest at heart? Does this relationship have your best interest at heart? What is the lesson here if someone hurts you? That's where I have to go and be like, and
like everyone's,
and the lessons are like also about myself. Yeah. So what someone has done to me, did I do that to someone in this life or in a past life? That's what I ask for forgiveness from self. And
with the counterpart, it was kind of like, I would sit and I would judge them, like, they did this to me, they acting this way with this person. I had to think about my past and be like, but you've done that. Maybe not this current version of you, but
the mirror. Yeah.
You've done that to a lot of people. Okay. You know, you gotta own up to your mistakes. And I also feel like people's, you know, choices are, of course, shaped by their life circumstances. You know, like sometimes I look at someone, I'm like, you know, I don't agree with what you're saying, but like, I can tell, like, based on your background, how you grew up, how your parents were, you know, what your education experience was.
It's environmental.
I understand why you would believe these things, or I understand like why you might have difficulty trusting people, you know, and it sucks. Like, I'm sorry. I hope that you can heal.
Yeah.
But I also have to understand.
Right. So I too went through a little phase of, can I trust anyone? And I realized, well, can I trust myself? And I had to dig deeper, hidden layers, shadow work, and really work on. And I think that's, let me make sure I say this correctly. That is work that is continuous. It is not like, oh, I tapped into my shadow self. Here I am. Okay, I can move on and live in the light for the rest of this life. I can choose to do that, but certain things I have found, like, I feel like a ping pong, like, and then finding the joy, working through all of that. And then, okay, my child, you evolved. Here's something else.
Yeah.
Here you go. Back. There you go. And how you can deal with it. And so it's learning how to balance with that. Some things I've been able to just, like even Steven, sort of stay in a balanced state and go, okay, and see through that. And then others I've been like going back down into doing that work again, being in the sadness, the anger, the fear, the whatever you want to call it, and then rising through that, working through that. And it's, okay, so if this person made me feel this way, then what is it about me that I'm feeling? What is it about me that it's within me? Because in general, we wouldn't really give our power. We really know who we are, this beautiful, powerful being, soul, to give our power to someone else to make us feel this way or a certain way that doesn't sit well with us. So I had to dig deep. And I think that's a constant work. You know, there are some people in this world that really are very strong, and they're very in tune, and they're just able to walk through life not giving anybody that power. And I think I came into this life having to learn. I'm going to be weaving in and out of it, I think. Hopefully not too much longer, but I mean, it's about learning those lessons. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where my challenge comes from as well, that solar plexus energy of like trusting yourself.
Your yellow zone.
Yeah, my yellow zone.
Yeah.
That's where my biggest insecurity is in my body too.
It's funny that your aunt gave you a sunflower.
Yeah.
Because that is the sun in
my belly, you know,
yeah, so
my gut.
Yeah.
It's like and I think,
and that represents our truths, by the way.
Yes, and so speaking my truth, there's always been fear that blocks that.
Those are the
and
layers
I zoom out and I'm like, your belly's beautiful. Like, I really do. Like, I look at myself.
Oh,
like,
you mean from the physical sense?
From the physical, but also from the spiritual.
Yes, yes.
Because everything spiritual reflects in us. Like, the body shows it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So, no, my biggest insecurity is my stomach.
I understand.
But am I insecure about my stomach because society has taught me that I need to be thinner? That I need to have less fat on it? That it expands, like, if I fluctuate in weight? Like, is that okay? Can I accept that? So that's been like what I'm working on.
Okay.
And that translates spiritually to trusting yourself. Not like, do I feel weird about myself because somebody else told me that I need to feel weird about this part of myself? Or can I just accept that maybe I'm weird, maybe I'm different, maybe this is how I choose to be? Can I just live in it? Can I speak about my truth and not worry about being shamed or judged or punished?
We should all be able to speak our truths and not be worried about being shamed or judged or punished for it.
Yeah. But this,
I pray for utopia.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really, I mean, if we're going to go there, I don't know if I truly believe that anything will ever be utopic on earth.
I hear you.
On this physical reality.
I understand what you mean, yes.
You know, even Jesus himself said, my kingdom is not of this world. And he said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. So,
love that.
Yes. In my Father's house, there are many rooms. It's just all meant to
My
be.
mom would always say that. Yeah, she would quote that from the Bible a lot.
So,
yeah.
That's interesting. I went there, but
what do you think that means when Jesus said that?
When Jesus said, within my Father's house, there are many rooms.
Or
I think,
poetically, it said, in my Father's kingdom, there are many mansions.
Oh,
my mom would say that. And so in my mind, it's very like fantastical what heaven must look like. You know?
Yeah. Well, heaven is perfection. It's complete oneness with the Lord, with God, with our source, our creator. So I think the many mansions, I think he meant to give us hope. I think also for us to see through the illusion of our earthly mansions, right? Like, just because somebody lives in a beautiful palace on this earthly realm doesn't mean that their soul is any better than somebody who lives in a wooden shack.
Amen.
You know?
Absolutely.
Actually, the wooden shack person's soul may have more wealth in other aspects. And I think that's always been clear to me because I grew up around money.
100%.
Like, my
I agree with you.
parents are not millionaires or billionaires by any means. They were teachers, public school teachers.
Thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you for your service to children.
Thank you, Mom and Dad, for putting me. I went to a private school.
Yeah,
where
I know what you mean.
I was probably one of the least financially wealthy students there.
So many similarities between you and me. So that was my experience too. Yeah,
which affected me. I'd be lying if I said people didn't sometimes cast me out because my parents didn't have the extra, thousands to donate. It's the truth. And sometimes kids
Interesting.
would try to put me down because I was wealthy in other regards. I've always been bright. I've always been talented. I've always had a creative spark. And so people whose sole security or sole pride in life is that they have financial means, because I have financial means, that makes me better than you. Sometimes they would come and they would try to bully me with their words. My parents make more money than your parents.
And how did you handle that?
I don't know. It never really...
Did that ever bother you, or did you just sort of go like, okay, whatever?
I used to brush it off. I think the older I got, the more it bothered me.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think the older I got, the more my ego grew as well. I was very much in my ego as a teenager,
What were you doing as a teenager? Because I do want to get to your music. I have no clue how long this is lasting. For me, we've only been sitting here for 20 minutes.
I feel like it's like 2 hours now.
It's all right.
That's good. That's fine.
That's
You can also chop it up.
Oh, I ain't chopping. No, this is this is not chopping, girl. This is from start to finish.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that's why it's only 4 in a year.
Wow.
So, so you mentioned that music was your creativity, was where you actually showed more.
Where I showed more like.
Oh my God, what's the term that you use? Postmenopause is hitting me right now.
Well, I was with people who were like on paper academically excellent, but I showed excellence in other ways.
Right. So you were more gifted in the music and creativity.
Yeah.
So were you writing songs? Like how old were you when you wrote your first song?
6.
Do you still remember it?
Yeah, I can sing it for you.
Sing it for me. Yes. Go ahead, girl.
I think that I could fly today, 'cause I am secretly old. I'm old in my heart, I'm old when I'm told I cannot fly.
I love it. Oh my God, I love it.
I have it journaled as well, like something 2006 or whatever year it was, or 2005. Today I wrote a song. And I even documented it. So that's how I know. Truthfully, that's how I know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think it's normal to be like, I was 6 and here's the song. I know because I wrote about it.
Right.
I would journal a lot.
Yes. Okay.
And
even from that age.
Yeah. Well, my parents are both visual artists. My mom's also they're both also into music. My dad plays
beautiful.
guitar. My mom's always been a singer, a dancer. But truthfully, they're.
You chose your parents. I believe that we choose our parents before we come into this life.
Oh, yeah.
And your soul chose them. And that's what your soul saw in them was
my parents and my family.
All of those beautiful
I come from a long
talents.
line of teachers, of creatives.
Beautiful.
And of healers.
Amen. We need healers.
Yeah. My cousin is an amazing healer. He has a whole IV drip. A business that he's really passionate about, and I've seen it in action, and
it's beautiful.
So, and on my mom's side, my cousin George is a writer. I just we have these gifts, and I just my parents. They're teachers. They were very dedicated in the public school system. And I think that is a beautiful legacy on its own. But
absolutely.
I also saw the downside of them having to be in the system and deal with everything that comes with
all of that.
All of that's outside of creativity. So the classroom,
the administration, the bureaucracy of it, the red tape, the this, the that, and
the classroom is not the problem. It's everything else
around it. Yeah. You're not the first person to say that. I've never taught in the school system, and I never really wanted to. I don't mind to be a guest teacher and to go in after school or even during school hours and do my thing.
Yeah.
But to be part of that is very hard. And all the teachers that are out there, no matter what they're teaching, from the math and the science to the English to the history to the music and the arts and
Yeah.
the dramas and all of that, like, my hat's off to all of you.
Earth angels.
They are all earth angels, because
So
to work in the school system, whether it's private or public, but public is the one that's the most challenging, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, it's something.
but that's where we need the most good-hearted
Of course.
people, and people who are doing it from the heart. You know, I always bring up back to the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
God loves a cheerful giver. So whatever you do, like, make sure you're doing it with cheer and with intention.
Mm-hmm. With no expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah. You give from
the heart, from the soul.
Yeah.
Because you feel called to it. And like, I have some friends who are in the classroom, and I just admire them, because like, you have such influence, you can make such an impact.
Mm-hmm.
I know my teachers, I still look back fondly on all of my teachers that taught me so much. I had some freaking amazing teachers.
That's amazing.
Teachers who pushed me to write, teachers who...
Yes. Good.
And writing was always like more of my key focus before I started like music.
Mm-hmm.
So actually I started...
So was this in elementary school, junior high, high school?
Well, I started performing when I was 2. I tell my students this all the time. They're like, oh. I'm like, yep, it's always been like dance, monkey, dance. But I genuinely really loved it. Like, when I was a little kid, I would walk around my house like on tiptoes, because I was like, I'm going to be a ballerina.
Too many similarities here. Like, your first song was about flying.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a twin.
Mm-hmm.
We're 4 minutes apart. And so we wrote a song.
About flying.
So now the tiptoeing, like, you play Moonlight Sonata, the first movement. My mom, we used to put on our ballet clothes even after we stopped taking ballet, and we would like go to the fireplace, to the mantle, and we would try to like, and we would do our pliés, and we would just do our ballet to my mom playing piano. And she didn't even know what was going on. And then when she was done like practicing, when she turned around, she would see us. We were like, "Hi, we're doing our ballet."
So I'll tell you now that...
So there's way too many similarities here.
I also have the gift of like, when somebody recalls a memory, I can like see it and feel it and hear it.
So you
So
can
I
see
saw
us in the
that.
tights.
It felt magical, huh?
It was very magical. Those were magical moments.
I don't say that a lot to people. I just but
this is I'm very
soul
comfortable
journey.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very comfortable with that. Yeah,
It's another like I've seen a lot. But yes, I just saw that whole
that's beautiful
image of you and your sister.
And my sister, yeah. And we would try to put our hair in a bun.
Aww.
Yeah. It was like we're gonna dress for ballet class. Yeah. Yeah.
It must be special to have a twin.
It was growing up when we were very small. We had our own language. My mom would say that that she didn't know what we were saying.
Well, there's I don't know if it's a proverb or a saying, I believe it's Africans. They say twins are one soul split into 2 bodies. I know you don't really...
I don't believe that, because God makes us each individually. But I can understand why they would think that. The DNA of that is split, yes. But that's a physical split, maybe. But the physical body is split in 2. But the souls are different. Even though I'm an identical twin, but we are
different.
We are very different in a lot of ways.
But you might be expressing like different polarities of a similar frequency.
Oh, well, I love the music and the acting and the dancing, and my sister loved dancing too growing up. She's a visual artist, art by Kyria, Kiria, and she's an abstract artist and surrealist, and now she does art for God. You know, a devout Christian in her faith, and I'm the spiritualist. I don't really follow any religion, we're very different, but our upbringing is the same. There are certain things that we like. We'll be talking, and we speak the same language for certain things, and that's just something that you know, it's there, and
you can't change
that. I mean,
can't replace it.
No,
can't fake it.
But I totally respect her and the way that she believes and how she wants to live her life, and that's And it's beautiful. And I would hope that my siblings, I have 2 other siblings, that they would also respect the way that I live and the way I believe. And, and in the end, it's what is the main focus across all the religions and spiritualists is do unto others you want others to do unto you. Love, have understanding. The way I see it is have compassion, which leads to empathy, which leads to understanding, true understanding, which leads to forgiveness. And with those steps there, for yourself and others, that's, speak it and give out of the kindness of your heart with no expectations of anything. It just happens. I do that. I was definitely born with a very cheerful disposition. So even I could be crying, going through something, and then in another second, I can just feel joy for another thing and happening, and it's very weird. But overall, I do have a cheerful disposition. It's the birds. Do you hear them?
It's getting cooler.
They're singing.
I'm happy.
The birds are singing. The birds are singing.
Yeah.
It's been breezy. It hasn't been too bad
I'm
here.
very connected to birds.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're the ones that have they're the first singers on this earth.
I think air signs.
That's what I tell my students a lot, is that the first singers on earth are the birds.
They're also ancient. They're the closest thing we have to dinosaurs. What?
Hello.
They're direct descendants of the dinosaurs.
I've never heard that before, but I believe you.
Yeah, birds are our most ancient species.
Wow. I learn something new every day. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. They're like mini dinosaurs in flight.
Like the dragons?
Well, that's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other conversation, but yeah. So speaking of birds and singing and music.
Okay.
So I want you all to know that Catherine here is a wonderful songwriter. I wish I had memorized the way you are described. I saw your musical bio in YouTube. An eclectic singer-songwriter that emulates the styles of folk, country, Fleetwood Mac. I want to say celestial as well. I think I read there.
Thank you.
There is something very ethereal about you.
Thank you.
And it shows up in your writing. Like we talked about dreams earlier. There's at least 2 songs that you wrote that your lyrics are about you having dreams.
Oh yeah.
If you just go to her channel, Catherine Magarino, MAG like in gate, ARINO, at YouTube, you will find her songs. Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. All of them. It's like you're a storyteller. I always tell my students, whether they're piano or voice or even the dancers, music, even if it's an instrumental, songs are stories. Of course, the ones with words that we sing are amazing because we become that storyteller. The singer becomes the storyteller. So it's but how you feel about it, right, will make that experience different for yourself and for the people who are receiving that performance. But when we're creating songs, it's you just write and it's I feel like I know you through your music even more, which is the most beautiful thing that an artist can do. So yeah. I want to know I know this is probably a difficult question to answer because it's maybe if you were to have 10 kids, which would be your favorite, but out of all the songs that you've written, which is the one that maybe not your favorite, because that's not a fair question because they're all your creativities, but which is it doesn't have to be just one, but which are the 1, 2, or 3 that have affected you? You wrote them and came from either a place of experience that was part of this soul journey that you're on, that that you're on. Which are the one or ones that have and I'm going to tell you which one is my favorite. Which is the one, not my favorite, but which one that I literally woke up to in my head.
Oh gosh.
This morning. I woke up and it was just like playing, like as if there was a boombox right here.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, but which are the ones, if there was one or two or whatever, it could be all of them, but the ones that really like you feel more than just a deep connection with, that you feel that really impacted you as you were writing it,
Mm-hmm.
and that still will maybe hold true 50 years down the line for you?
The first one that comes to mind is Soon I'll Be Walking Again. That one's a pretty raw
Yeah.
song.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I wrote it, I was like, damn, it's real.
Yeah.
I
was listening to that yesterday, and
Thank
I was
you.
like, oh. I mean, I understand when you wrote that was after your surgery, correct?
Yeah.
So, but I could feel it. I could feel that's okay. So please share with us
about my song and my lyrics.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
like what did you go through that created that?
So that song is interesting because I actually wrote, one of the verses goes, bury me in San Francisco. I want to be remembered in the place where all my dreams go. And I actually wrote that when I was in San Francisco before I broke my leg. And I didn't write it with melody or anything. I just wrote like
the lyrics.
Those lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
It's literal because I was in San Francisco for a voice competition. I made it to the semifinals, but I didn't place in the top. I was in the top 20, but I didn't really place like where I wanted to place.
Of course.
I wanted to win.
Like you mean like in the top 5? Or...
Yeah. I didn't make it to the finals. So there was that disappointment and that kind of letdown that I was feeling. But I also was just so grateful that I was there because I walked across the Golden Gate Bridge with my mother, which is an experience I'll never forget.
Like literally on the gate?
Yeah. From the gate, from the start of the Golden Gate Bridge to the end into the Bay Area, where I had one of the most amazing days of my life. And maybe because I had that day, I used so much energy that day that I had to compete the next day. And I was like pretty tired. But I still felt like it was worth it because I had this amazing experience in the Golden Gate Bridge that I was like, bury me in San Francisco. I want to be remembered in the place where all my dreams go. And I was walking through this nature trail with wildflowers and gorgeous ancient trees with my mom when I wrote that. So that was where it stemmed from. Then that summer came. I had the accident. I broke my leg. I was sitting in bed and I realized like I couldn't drink. And it was like my first real like... I was like, I just want to be drunk right now. My leg is in so much pain, but I couldn't because I was on like really
hardcore drugs that they prescribe for you to deal with the pain.
And then I realized actually I don't like, and I started thinking about alcohol and liquor and, you know, so like alcoholism is such a theme and, you know, people, like a lot of people around me, you know, growing up, I heard a lot of stories, you know, you got to be careful, you know, and, you know, both my grandparents have like a story there.
Okay.
And so I started thinking like, take me to the liquor store. That's where, and I got my guitar and that's when I really wrote it.
Okay.
Take me to the... I can't even remember my own song. It's stupid.
My phone's the video. It's on video, so I can't even grab it.
Take me to the liquor store. I want to stare through the window and remember what any of it was good for. And I was like, I want to look like... And I just thought that image of like looking through a window is so provocative of like, you go to the liquor store, maybe you're going to go in, maybe you're going to get a drink, but you decide not to. You hold yourself back because I'm going to break my sobriety. So I'm just going to stare. I'm going to remember Because there is a glamour to alcohol.
Yeah,
There is a,
I can see
you
that.
know, and maybe it's from advertising and marketing, but it's ingrained in our American culture and in cultures around the world. I just came from Europe.
Yeah.
And they're like, try this, try that. We have limoncello after dinner every day. Red wine with dinner every day. And it's like,
Yeah.
Alcohol. Can you manage it? A lot of people can't. And it's a big theme at my church. We talk about it a lot. You know, are you going to be a stumbling block for somebody that struggles with alcohol? I really had to like start reflecting on this because, you know, in my younger adult life, I was pretty reckless. You know, not anything that would put myself or others in danger, but careless is a better word for it. Careless. Not really intentionally drinking and realizing what it does. Because it does alter you.
Of course, yes. And sometimes, you know, when we're young too and impressionable and we're following the crowd, which was a theme that was going on for you, as we discussed earlier, that, you know, you can just, how do you say, following the crowd.
Yeah.
You take one, then another, then another. It's a social thing. Yeah.
It's social. It can be very social. And the more you drink, the more you want. That's the truth. So
although someone like me who's a lightweight,
but that's you know, and you have that level of self-control.
Oh, and whether I want it or not, I've lost control twice in my life and never again. Yeah,
but some people, you know, they try it once and they can't because it's genetic, you know, there's a lack of control there. It's,
yeah.
I can talk about this forever, but, yeah, very interesting, like, theme in my life that I've had to reflect on a lot. Like, do I want to be fully sober? Like, do I, you know?
And so that song, you wrote that.
Reflection on sobriety. Like, it's a parallel of, like, sobriety and addiction with, like, healing and recovery from my broken leg. Soon I'll be walking again. Soon I'll be walking again. Soon I'll be walking again. And soon enough, you'll see me run. Soon enough, you'll see me run. Like, maybe, and I kind of wanted it to be a little bit of an anthem, like, if anybody is listening and they feel like, damn, I broke my sobriety today. It's okay. You can get back on. Like, you can jump back on.
But whatever it is.
Right. It doesn't have to be only sobriety.
Exactly. And to me, it had more of a universal theme, even though it was specific. And I was so touched, soon you will see me run. And I was just like, yes, because I think we all go through stages in life. It really, age and time is irrelevant. I believe that age and time are irrelevant. But when we feel like we've fallen down and maybe we don't know if we can get up, and oh my gosh, and how am I going to be able to like walk again? How am I going to get through that day?
That devastation.
Right. And then just with that, you know, soon you're going to see me running. Soon you're going to see me run again. Like, soon you see me run. And I was cleaning, you know, my back patio, and I'm listening to this and I'm going, yeah. Like,
thank you.
I was just like, because I was busy doing something, my mind had the ability to only focus on everything that I was listening to. And it was so beautiful. And I felt like empowered by that song.
Thank you.
It's a very empowering song.
Thank you for sharing that with me.
Absolutely. Not the one I woke up to listening to blaring in my ears, but that though, is there another song that?
So the question was, what songs have you felt like, boom.
Yeah.
Oh, I wrote that. Like, oh, wow.
Right. Or that came from a happening that is really part of your soul journey and that will stand the test of time 50 years later.
Whoa.
And that is one of them.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Wow, wow, wow.
That is one of them.
Okay. It's hard because I feel like they're all significant, but some of them
your songs are like your story, your journey.
I definitely
all your songs are like lead you to today, what you've gone through today.
I mean, Jeep Wrangler is like
Another great song.
Thank you.
Yeah, one of the she's got two that are mostly viewed and listened to, and that is one of them.
That's like
and
one of my
the
top.
Jeep Wrangler, there's no like, what is it? They are not involved in this.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
Open to it. Open to it.
Hey Jeep, come on, cut a sister a break.
But it's interesting because that song, I am hesitant to like share because I hate like ruining like the illusion of it, because you think like nights in your Jeep Wrangler, like, oh my gosh, this guy, he drove a Jeep, like, okay, no, it's a story. Mostly it is based on a person that I deeply loved and had a, it wasn't even it was a situationship.
Okay.
But it was like so drawn out and whatever. He's not even worth like mentioning. But Jeep Wrangler, the song idea came from me sitting in the car with my friend. And I said, one day I'm going to write a song called Jeep Wrangler. Because me and my friend Adriana, I'll shout her out. She's still like my bestie. I just saw her last weekend. We went to the beach.
Oh, I saw those pictures. Yeah.
Yes. I've known her since we were 4 years old.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah. But I was in the car with her, and she loved, like, I don't know about now, but she used to like love Jeeps, and we would always point out like a Jeep, a Jeep, a Jeep.
Me too. The open ones. Yeah.
And then
the beach Jeep.
I remembered that my dad, before I was born, my dad had a Jeep. My parents sold it, because my mom got pregnant, and they were like, we need a minivan.
Right, because it's not the safest car on the planet.
No,
that was actually the first car I wanted to own, like to have.
I still love Jeeps.
And both my dad and my ex were like, "Oh, are you crazy? That's a killer car." I was like, "No, it's not. They make them so good now."
Jeep Wrangler. I'm putting it out there. Y'all want my song? Y'all want to give me a Jeep? I'm cool with that, honestly.
Triple snap.
Because I still have people to this day, they're like, I love your song Jeep Wrangler.
No, it's fantastic. It's like it's a combination of folk and country, and there's like a little pop in there.
Thank you.
And it's like you do have an eclectic sound.
Yeah.
Some songs are very clear this is folk style. Some songs are very clear that this is like a soft 70s rock style. But then you've got some songs that have a little bit of this and that, and that is what
you're like, it's unique.
It's unique, yeah.
Like
lyrics and the rhythm and the style and the.
I've gotten a lot of advice of like, well, why don't you make some dance songs? Like, why do you make something that will play on the radio? I'm like, because I don't want to.
You just want to be you.
And one of my biggest influences. I have two really big influences. One is Fleetwood Mac.
Mine too.
And one is Lana Del Rey. Oh, I love her.
Beautiful, yeah.
Lana Del Rey doesn't really have like #1 hits like that, but she's become a legacy artist throughout her time.
Right, because she just wrote what she wanted to write.
Yeah, and people say she created her own genre. And like, to me, I look up to that, and like, I just write how I write. I produce how I produce. It's not polished and perfect, and it's not gonna play on Y100 tomorrow. But that's okay. Like,
I listen to Y100 too.
No, and I love pop music.
Oh,
I love pop music, and
that's what I listen to in the car.
Yes, and if I ever had a chance to like create some polished pop, like work with a polished pop producer, like a nice commercial song, like why not? Pop is still very meaningful. Pop is still
it is
art, and it's actually the hardest type of art to create.
I agree.
Like Taylor Swift, she's reached levels, like, love her or hate her, she's reached levels that no other living artist
admire that
really,
woman. Yeah.
You know, I mean, she's up there with Michael Jackson, Madonna, Beyonce. Like, these people reach
I know what you
levels that are unheard of, right? Because it's difficult, but they're also like so authentic that like you hear them and you know
it's their voice, you know it's their sound, you know it's their style.
Yep.
You know it's their music. Even if they didn't advertise that there's a new release coming out and you hear something, you know it's them.
I mean, when Beyonce dropped, I think it was Lemonade. I don't remember which one. Don't come for me, but I don't remember which one it was that she just like dropped it overnight. I think it might have been her first self-titled, where she was like, here's my visual album. and it like broke records, Grammy records, YouTube records, and like she had no promo, no marketing. She was just like, here it is, and it's
Mic drop.
you know.
That's it. Mic drop on that one.
So I do look up to these pop artists.
Yeah.
for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
And pop is I'm super influenced by pop.
So am I.
But I don't
love
think
pop
I
music.
like create pop music, which is fine.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
It's just,
you know,
it could become pop
I mean,
if people want to ride the wave. Like Lana Del Rey's not pop, but she's pop now because so many people love her and just know her.
they put her in there.
She is technically
made her
pop because
more
she's
popular.
popular. Yeah. So if y'all want to make me a pop artist, that's up to you.
Triple snap.
What were we
Triple
talking?
snap.
We're talking about Jeep Wrangler. Jeep
Jeep
Wrangler is
Wrangler,
pop. Like
yeah.
it's pop because it's like,
It has a country feel to it, though. You know,
Yes.
it does like a
which
folk
was
country.
intentional.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's this pop sound to it too. It's like this combination, and I love that song.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
Oh, yeah, I was telling you the story of it and
Yeah.
the lyrics and stuff. Okay. Yeah, so it's about a boy that I wrote it when I was 17. It's about a boy. He didn't have a Jeep, but I liked that imagery of
Right.
nights in your Jeep Wrangler. He actually had a Ford Mustang. But
which is a great freaking car.
but nights in your Jeep Wrangler
Yeah.
sounds way better than nights in your Ford Mustang. Like,
Yep. Well, you were the Jeep lover.
I
and
was.
So you put a little bit of you
It's
and a little bit of
an
him in
ode
there.
to my dad.
Yeah, but it's, you know,
And then, yeah, it's like a sexy song.
it is a sexy song.
Sorry, Mom.
Don't be sorry.
She's like, it's hard for me to listen to that. I'm like, I get it.
it's okay.
I get it, but it's a little sexy. You know, we were
There's nothing wrong with
messing
that.
around.
There's nothing wrong with
I don't
that.
condone it. But it was, you know, we were teenagers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm down on my knees for
Oh,
you, baby.
baby.
Begging to please
Uh-huh.
you, baby.
That's it. That's it.
Summer of 69. So I say on the radio, summer of 69. I never thought that song would mean something to me now. That song, it's funny. It's like
When did you write that one?
that. So that's a lyric in Jeep Wrangler. I wrote it because I grew up listening to that song, Summer of 69. I think it's Bryan
Okay,
Adams.
now I understand what you're saying.
Yes, yes, yeah.
The reference. Okay.
Back in the summer of 69.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, there's a lot of, like,
For me, it's Don Henley's Boys of Summer.
yeah.
Oh,
After the boys.
something about that song.
But yeah, I put that lyric in there because like it just used to play, like, and he loved that song.
Okay.
And like, so it's like I just reference,
Yeah.
like I pull things. I'm like, this actually, you know, happened. But I swear, baby, I saw the ocean there in your eyes. I toyed with that line a lot. I thought maybe, I swear, baby, I saw my future there in your eyes. But I kept the ocean because it ties into some other songs. Like I play with a lot of the similar
I think
imagery.
you have a song that is titled Ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are the ocean, happy to drown. I changed, but it is titled Ocean. Vast and unknown, yet so it's about the same person. So if you'll listen, like I definitely leave like little Easter eggs
Okay.
of like who this song is about.
Okay.
And like, you know, like you don't know him personally, but you can gauge
No.
like what
Right. That it's the
went
same
down.
person.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And in a way, it's like you said, like love never dies. Like, do I still love him? For sure. Like, I look back and I'm like, that love was real.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's more about turning that into love for myself. Because everything I saw in him was things that I just loved about myself that he would bring out.
Yes. That's the wonderful thing about beautiful moments with people or experiences is what they bring out in you. You know, maybe in the beginning it was a beautiful relationship, you know, your experience.
It was a friendship,
It was
which is where all of my, like I said, I have trouble, right? The friendship that is like a truly strong and real, authentic friendship gets messy because it turns into
something romantic.
yeah, and Why? I don't know. Could I have prevented
Soul
that?
contract.
Sure. That's sure. But parts of me are like, did I lose a friend? You know?
Right, I understand that too.
Because sometimes it's like, just let a friend be a friend. But then, you know, then that takes away other certain experiences as well. So
Right. But do you feel that things happen the way they happen to lead you to this point?
yeah,
So even though the loss of the friendship maybe is still something that you miss, but it led you to something else.
yeah, and
And
I also
therefore-
think like they were really that good of a friend. Like, wouldn't you still be in my life? You know.
Some do. There are some.
Right. I do have a couple.
There's some people that they
Mhm.
are like, oh, we dated in high school and this and that, but
Yeah.
didn't work out, but we're still friends to this day. And it's like 40 years later, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And they all know each other's spouses and this and that, and it's like, oh, okay,
It's
great.
not my majority experience, but I do have, an ex or two that we still vibe.
But-
we're still friends.
Okay,
Like,
that's beautiful.
I'm not gonna like call you my bestie, but I respect you. You're cool. Like, there was no pain. Like, we ended on
good terms,
good
amicable,
terms. Yeah.
and you're able to keep a friendship going.
Yeah, or at least some connection of respect.
That's beautiful,
I don't have to like block you
right?
because you stabbed me
In the back.
in the back or in the heart. So
It goes in the same place either way, in the back or
Sure.
the heart or the
Yeah.
front. Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah. The heart chakra.
Sometimes I go through things and I think maybe I just went through that so I could write about it.
That's why I asked. Do you think that
Yeah,
led you
'cause
to where you
it's-
are now?
Like, I think when I channel my music,
Mhm.
I'm channeling the collective experience as well. I think that's another reason why Taylor Swift is so popular. Like, you listen to her song and it's like, I went through that. Because yes, she's writing about her personal experience, but
Or her friend's experience, but it's
It's-
relatable.
we're one consciousness.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
yes.
All right.
Like, what I've been through, you probably somebody else has
Been through it. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you the song that I woke up to.
Okay.
And Pluto.
Oh,
I love that song.
That's a nice surprise.
That is, I view that as like an eclectic song
Thank you.
that has like some bebop and doo-wop in it.
Oh my
Am I right?
gosh. Yes.
And a flair of the modern sound. It is completely awesome.
Thank you.
I couldn't see the moon, but I saw Pluto, and I'm like, I've got goosebumps now, right on my crown chakra. Like it is, and I'm just like, this has so much flavor going on in it, and it all matches, and it's well balanced.
Thank you.
The lyrics and the music and the rhythm, everything, and you did that all on your own.
Yeah.
Like, we'll be here forever because her and I can talk. But I want to like sit down with you one day, off camera, of course, and just like find out like how you produced your songs and how you put it together, what tools you used, what software programs you used. I mean, I know you did it through a keyboard, but that's brilliant. And it's quirky.
Yes.
I love that Pluto is quirky, and it reminds me of Meghan Trainor.
Thank you.
You know how she's got that doo-wop,
Yeah.
bebop kind of feel,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a little vamp in there in that Pluto.
Oh yes.
I can see that being on the radio.
Thank you.
Yeah, on Y100 or 97.3 FM or even like
I do think that like I do write some commercial songs. Like, they're just eccentric.
like
Yeah.
Super Radio here in Miami, Florida.
Like, it's not gonna play on the same station as Bad Bunny, but
well, right now they play everything on one station.
that's true. You never know. Why am I limiting myself?
Why are you? Are you
You
kidding? I
never
can hear that on
know.
every kind of station.
You never know.
Even
yeah,
on what's that
thank
radio
you.
station that plays NPR? The NPR
92.3.
Yeah, there you go. 92.3.
Yeah.
Why not?
I love that station.
Mm-hmm. Jazz radio?
WGA.
We can have it on there too.
I performed on the FIU Music Hour many a time. 10 a, I think it's like they're 11 a.m. Tuesdays.
Have you really?
Yeah.
There's so much about you that I still don't know. So
I've also
lovely.
lived like many, like I do a lot of side quests.
You know,
Like I'm an unusual person.
no, but that's okay. I love unusual people. I vibe with the unusual. So
I'm from the planet Uranus, for sure.
for sure.
It's on its side.
I love that. I know I'm totally connected with the sun, which is
Oh.
Leo's home planet is the sun.
Of course.
So I know that I am, which is why I love the sunflower. This is, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that your aunt gave you that today is to
crazy.
wear that. Yeah, for today is.
I've also been incorporating more gold. Like I'm vibing more with gold than
Yes.
I used to be like silver.
Well, silver carries feminine energy.
Yeah.
So, which is why I wear it on my right side, because the right side of the body represents the masculine energy within you and those masculine energies in your life. And then the left side is your feminine energy and represents the feminine energy within you and the feminine energies in your life. Okay. So I try to balance it because I can be very masculine and I'm a Leo and I love gold. But so I wore silver. I
did notice that you were wearing silver today.
I'm on my right, which is my gold masculine energy. But I wear this set because back in 2012, I believe it was, I went on a trip by myself to St. Thomas for a few days, and it was very healing and very necessary. And I was estranged with my parents and my siblings, with my younger siblings. And I was hurt so much. And I went there and I spent, I think it was 6 days and 5 nights. And I just went to the beach.
Wow.
When I say the beach is my happy place and sunset, oh my, yeah. Which is why I like to do this in the afternoon, you know, before the sun's going to set.
Because you're still a
and
Cancer
for
rising.
us too, I am a Cancer
And you
rising.
love
You
the
remember
moon.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the moon. I feel very connected with the moon's
Me too.
energy and the moon goddess. And that's right. I saw that when we went to the beach. Yeah, I love that.
It's interesting. It's the same.
Yeah.
My left, the
Mhm.
same like place where I
Yeah.
have the scar.
So I love this set because it reminds me of the journey I went through. And the stone Larimar is a throat chakra.
It's a beautiful stone.
So, and I ask always for wisdom and for the right questions to be asked, which is why I have you sitting on my right, which is your left, so that my left is for receiving and my right is for giving in terms of energetically. Yeah.
I love that.
So that's why I'm always sitting
I realize
on
I'm like, I have to get used to my right side being on camera because I'm so, I prefer my left.
Yeah.
I
I do too, but it's not because of the visual, it's because of the energy. So yeah.
I'm getting more comfortable with my right.
Yeah.
So maybe the gold is tying into that. Like,
yes.
I'm getting more comfortable.
So you need gold to help the empowerment of that.
Yes, I'm balancing my masculine and my solar.
Yeah. And I loved the whole. She walked through my door today, and I was just like, a goddess has entered my house.
Thank
yes, a total goddess. Yes. And so I know we're probably we got just a little bit more to talk about, but I do want to bring up your trip to Italy because I know personally that was a very healing trip. Even though it was a work trip, it was a healing trip.
Yeah.
And you don't have to get specific about it, but I do wish for you to share, if you would, about the weight being lifted off. Because sometimes we have to go away from where we are in order to feel that lifting of weight or the healing, and also to give us maybe that objectivity to have perspective of things that maybe we don't allow ourselves to do when we're sitting in it, Yeah. Because when we're in it and we're sitting in something, we don't always have the chance to allow ourselves to sit outside of it and view it as a third person and have more objectivity about it. So you don't have to get specific if you don't feel comfortable, but I would love for you to share though the experience of just feeling lighter. Like even as you shared that with me, I literally felt my energy
Yeah.
go up?
Well, I've always been a traveler. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful that, my parents have always tried to incorporate travel into my childhood.
It's good.
Yeah, that's always been for them. I want to say an escape because that's the first word that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like escape has a negative connotation to it.
It does, and it shouldn't.
Right. But you do need an escape. You do need moments of clarity. You need,
Yeah, I agree.
like, we all need rest. We all need relief.
Balance.
Yeah.
Too much of anything is not good for you.
Yeah.
So it's the balance. And everyone needs an escape. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I've loved traveling, you know, and I understand that not everybody has the financial means to travel all the time. So I also believe it's important to find escape, whether it's, in your city or in your home, like create something that feels like travel.
Mm-hmm.
Or meditation, to me is like travel of the mind, of the soul, right?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So like to me, going to the beach is like travel. Like I'm at the beach, I'm not thinking about my responsibilities.
It's my happy place.
Yes.
The beach at sunset.
Yeah.
That's my happy place.
So I have traveled a lot within the US, but this is my second time going to Italy, my first time going to Sardinia, the island of Sardinia.
I've heard nice things about that island.
Well, it's a blue zone. So it's actually one of the 5 places in the world where people live past 100. It has the highest population of centenarians, I believe is the word.
Centenarians, okay.
Centenarians, which is people over 100 years old.
I think Crete is also in that.
Probably.
In that, yeah.
And it's
the olive oil.
Yeah. But Sardinia is the only blue zone where it's not just the women that live past 100, it's also the men. So it's interesting.
So do you think it's the lifestyle or the way they eat? Or their belief system, their approach to life, or all of it?
All of it.
All of it. I love that. Cool.
We're back?
Okay, we're back.
The mic is on?
We're back where the mic is on.
We're good.
We're good. So I'm going to re-ask a question because it got cut off.
Mm-hmm.
But when was that moment in Italy when you felt the lift being weighted like off of you? I think you mentioned about being on a boat.
Yes, it was the first time I got on a boat and I really felt the freedom of being in the ocean, the expansiveness.
And when was that moment?
I think when I turned around and I saw the mountain and I saw the mountain city, like houses on the mountain, and it looked almost like an oil painting, like it looked intangible.
Yes.
And it made me realize like this world is an illusion, right? Like I can't reach out and touch that. But it's also very real. Like I really could. But how everything looks different from far away and from close up, Yeah. And I love that traveling does that. Like you get on a plane, you're forced to see the earth, from up above and see everything look so small. And it puts your life into perspective. Like, my life really is very small, but it's also meaningful because I exist.
It's small and big all at the same time, right? We feel very important. We're dealing with ourselves and our life. We are small. There's the universe so much bigger than us. But at the same time, we are an intricate part of that beautiful big universe that is so huge.
Yeah.
And spiritualists say that all this is an illusion, that Earth is a school. We're here to learn.
Yeah.
And the untangible is more real, more tangible than the real, the tangible.
I think it's like a purification process too. We're clearing our karmic debts.
Wow.
Yeah. Some of us are higher teachers, so we come back to teach.
Right.
Instead of
I believe that completely. Yeah.
Like I think, like you know, when Jesus incarnated, everyone called him, you know, master, teacher, rabbi.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what he was talking about.
Yeah. No, yeah. Which I still follow his teachings till today.
Yeah.
That doesn't,
I mean, they're timeless.
that doesn't leave, you know what I mean? I mean,
No, I think religion is separate from Christ.
I agree.
Religion is man-made. Like, there's no perfect church. There's no perfect denomination. It's just impossible because it's all filtered through our human lens and our human perspective. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Christ came as to teach us like a universal message that has nothing to do with religion. And I am a follower of Christ. And that's what I consider myself to be. Not necessarily a follower of a religion.
Okay.
I follow Jesus.
All right. It's beautiful.
Or I try my best to.
Well,
He's hard. He's difficult to follow.
Yes. I believe he came down here to show us that we too are healers and we are energy and all of that. And so, yeah. Is it still rolling?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, I mean, this is supposed to be natural, and so here we are.
Yeah, it happens.
I have one more question for you. It doesn't have to be a long answer, but where do you feel you are in your soul's journey right now? I mean, you have said that you came here with certain gifts, and that you knew right away when you were young that you had a soul, and when you were 10, that was when you were 5, when you were 10, you recognized that there's something bigger than just me, and then you went through all of these experiences during, you know, your teenage years and school, but where do you feel that you are now? I mean, you are a wonderful writer, singer, songwriter, and it's not just, you know, the music, it's the combination of lyrics and melody that makes that hand in glove, you know, perfect songwriting, as they say, and you've got it out there. So
Thank you.
where do you feel that you are at in your soul's journey right now at the ripe old age of 27? You are an old soul. I knew that from the start.
My soul is old. Yeah, I mean, even when I was 6, I wrote, "I am secretly old."
I know that's
weird.
In your song. I know.
That's not normal.
It's no, but there are a lot of your generation and younger ones even today that know that they're
like older souls.
Yeah.
Some of the Gen Alphas that are being born are very much indigo souls. Where am I right now?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm gonna look back on this like in many years and be like, if you only knew. Right now I am recovering, resting, healing. I'm in a bit of a tense moment where I don't see the road ahead of me completely clearly.
Okay.
Which is the best moments to be in because anything can happen.
Right.
I only know 2 things that are happening after this. I'm going to start music directing tomorrow. Okay. And in August, I'm going back to London. Which is, I mean, yeah.
For work or for play?
For play. This time it's for play.
Okay, great. I'll be checking your Instagrams.
Yeah, because my friend is celebrating her birthday over there, and she's like, "You should come." And I've gone through. There's a lot of family pressure right now with certain health conditions that are happening in my immediate family and around us. Okay. So when I told my parents, like, I think I'm gonna take off again, I'll book a flight to London, Mom was like, "You should."
Yeah, why not? Why not?
So,
yeah.
Travel.
Yay!
Hopefully I'll look back on this in a couple years and be like, wow, that trip was amazing. And you've had so many other great trips. Yeah. You know, traveling is like moving higher on my priority list. Okay. Which I'm grateful for. I'm being more confident, like solo traveling and just like being in the world. You know, I'm also working on my languages. Like I understand that. I do. Like as an opera singer. Yeah. Yeah. I improved my Italian and I mean, I speak Spanish, but to put it into play in Spain is like a
It's
whole other
a completely
experience.
different ball game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
So-
feel that travel opens the mind, the body, and the soul to a bigger journey?
Yeah.
Expansive? Do you feel like there's, obviously when we travel, there's always going to be discoveries, but do you feel that as your soul journeys, when you travel, because you had this beautiful experience, right, in Italy of this weight being lifted off and this energetic weight that really helped you to start your healing process, which is where you're at today, right now. Do you feel that the travel is something that helps with that?
Yeah, actually, I got my first what I consider to be prophetic dream.
Mhm.
I was 15, and it was when I was in Rome.
Wow.
Traveling.
The history.
For the first time, yeah.
The history there. Oh, wow.
I mean, Rome. The Vatican, the Sistine Chapel, the Colosseum. But
all of that. Yeah.
You know, I received a message from my great-grandmother, Sarah, in my dream, and it was relevant to like that point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the first time, and it was like unlike any dream I had ever had before.
Okay. Yeah.
And so since then, I knew like, oh, this is possible for me. It opened a door to the gifts like that were in store in the future. But I don't think that I do think that I had to be in another country, on another vibration, right? Because each location has its own vibe.
That's true. That's true. Its own history, its own energy. It's everything.
Like,
yeah.
Miami is actually it's actually one of the only cities in the U.S. that was founded by a woman. So I feel like Miami is a very feminine city. Which is why
this is home.
It's why our men are a certain way as well.
Well, that's definitely another conversation, but if that's how that makes you feel, you know what I mean? That is very possible. That's exactly. Yeah.
And so when I was in when I was in Spain, and I went to Museo Reina Sofia.
The Museum of the Queen of Sophia. Queen Sophia.
And they named it after her because she was a patron of the arts.
How beautiful.
She was probably wise.
Yes, very wise.
I can sit like this, right?
Yes, you can. You can.
It was a castle. They turned it into a museum, and I'm just going up and down those steps, and I'm like, who knows, like how many centuries of footsteps have been here, and whose footsteps I'm like stepping in right now. Might have even been me, like
in a past life.
And
what a beautiful evolved soul to have recognition of that.
Yeah, it can be lonely though.
But you're never alone. That's another thing I've been dealing with. Yeah. I may feel lonely, but I'm not alone. That's a beautiful thing. To know that. The whole spiritual army behind me, beside me, in front of me.
Oh, yes.
So we're never really alone. It may feel that way in the physical world, but we're never really alone. And that may be hard because the human mind goes into the, we want someone to help carry the burden,
and
but
we
maybe
need people.
Yes, we do need people, but like my experience has been that I have to go through this,
and to strengthen and grow.
For strength and for to really get to know me better.
Yeah,
and when the right time comes, God will bring.
I do hope
that
so.
Other being,
I've also accepted that if I'm meant to just be a single person in my life, like I have to be okay with that too.
I've gone through that. I've gone through questioning that.
I do feel called to marriage and motherhood.
You'd be a great mom.
Thank you.
I could totally see that. Be a great
I'm a
mom.
mom to my Bean.
That's all that matters.
Bean is my dog.
Ah. So I just want to say I'm very honored and blessed to have you today. This is clearly going on 3 hours or and did it shut off?
No, no.
Oh, okay. So we're actually going, the phone is giving me a hard time, but we're here at the tail end. So I love to end my sessions with a card. So I have 7 stacks. These are just words that I've written down. And you pick a stack. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. And then you kind of shuffle them. And then you pick a card, one that calls to you.
Okay, so I like this one.
Okay, so that's number 5, which stands for transmutation, transformation, positive changes that come in your life.
Oh, one flipped over.
Then that might be the one that you want.
Experience.
So, and what does this word mean to you now? With everything that we've talked about, or what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Experience is the one thing that you cannot be born with.
That is so true.
You know, I grew up, like my parents are teachers. I love school, like went to grad school, did the thing, love it. But no matter how educated you are and how much knowledge you take in, there's nothing that can make up for being in the field, working and learning. And I do feel for my 27 years, I have a relatively decent amount of experience. But I know I will look back at this time in my life. And I think I'll be proud of myself for everything that I have achieved up to this point with my limited experience of only being 27. But I know I'll look back and say, if you only knew, and I hope to gain more experience as I grow, and that experience will inform my performance, my writing, my teaching, and who I am in my life as a friend and a daughter and hopefully a wife and a mother when the time comes.
Wow. So I am actually, my goal with this is for this to be ongoing. So I'm hoping years down the road, I have you back as a guest.
Thank you.
And we revisit the conversation, just pick it up from where we leave off. And it's been an honor and a blessing to have you. Catherine, this is Catherine Magarino. Very Italian, I think, the way I want to say it. And
Magarino.
She's a teacher, a student, a singer-songwriter, a performer, and so much more, as you clearly have witnessed today. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your heart, your soul, and your mind with us today. You are absolutely stunning. Hello, everyone. I am so sorry for my phone dying on you during this taping at the tail end of it. We were having some technical difficulties in the last 30 minutes of taping, so I do appreciate your understanding on that. So as I was telling Catherine, you are beautifully stunning. Thank you so much for your authenticity and being so genuine and honest with me and Soul Journey Talk and sharing this beautiful journey of yours that you've never shared with anyone else. And I feel so deeply honored and blessed that you've chosen me and Soul Journey Talk to share your story with us and the world. So both Catherine and I hope that this journey of hers inspires you. It gives you some information, brings you some blessings and some joy. Definitely please check out her music. She also has a YouTube channel called Catherine Magarino, which is her name. All the information of all her social media and how you can contact Catherine will be in the description box below this video. And we also do have some behind the scenes footage that I'm hoping to share with you by the end of summer. So as soon as I can get all of that put together in doing a reel, we will be sharing that with you. And This has been a beautiful, beautiful experience for me. So thank you, Catherine. Thank you so much. I don't think that there are enough words of gratitude and love that I can share with you for what you have shared with me in Soul Journey Talk. Thank you so much for your presence today, everybody. You have deeply and doubly blessed us and everyone around you. May the divine and the universe shower you with blessings as you so deserve. And may this journey of Soul Journey Talk continue to inspire and inform and bring light, love, and joy to all of you. My name is Sophia Molfetas, and this is Soul Journey Talk. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again in the fall. Thank you so much for being here today. Much love and light. As my shirt says, in a world full of roses, be a sunflower. I know that they always make me smile. Much love and light to all of you. Mwah. Bye now.